Good morning, football fans, and welcome to the 84th meeting between UW-Eau and UW-Eau Claire. Welcome inside the studio to the Kai Chevytown Game Day Report. I'm Nick Tabbert. A lot to talk about in the next 30 minutes. Let's start off, though, by taking a look at the WX standings. UW-Whitewater atop the conference at 6-0. Then there's a logjam at 2-1 with La Crosse, Oshkosh, and Platteville. UW-Eau Claire, the only winless team in conference play so far. These standings don't mean much, though, when these teams get together. 2 of the last 3 games have been decided by 3 points or less. Eagles lead the all-time series 54-27. There have been 2 ties, but the Blugolds have won 6 of the last 9. The last time these teams met in Eau Claire, UW-Eau came away with a 2010 win. Let's take a moment to reflect on last year's game held at Roger Herring Stadium in Week 4 of the WX season. Both teams needed to win to get their season pointed back in the right direction, and once again, the game came down to the final seconds. It was a rainy and cool afternoon last October. UW-Eau's offense started red hot, though, marching 75 yards in 3 plays, capped by John Tackett's 10-yard pass to Sam Zwig. 7-0 Eagles just 48 seconds in. On the Eagles' next drive, Tackett found Joel Oxton for the 28-yard score, 14-0 UW-Eau. Blugolds got on the board on their next drive when Torrey Wallace scored on a 15-yard run, but UW-Eau would get another quick score in return. Second quarter here to lead at 21-7. Austin Menkoski broke free for an 80-yard run before Tackett connected with Oxton for the touchdown. Tackett with 3 touchdown throws on the day. Oxton had 5 catches for 81 yards. Eau Claire added 3 field goals to pull within 21-16 in the third quarter before the Eagles get another big play, this time on special teams. Mike Santucci took the kickoff back 88 yards for the score, make it 27-16 Eagles. But the Blugolds refused to quit. Wallace with his second touchdown here on the ground, Eau Claire to within 2, and they would go for the 2-point conversion, but the pass ultimately falls incomplete. UW-Eau able to hold on from there, winning 27-25 and giving the Eagles back-to-back wins in this series. That was last year. Today, we expect another close battle because this is a rivalry. The record you bring in with you doesn't mean nearly as much as the one you walk away with.
The whole area gets amped up for the 11:30 game on TV, all that. It's just really a fun time. It's a fun rivalry, and I'm sure it'll be a heck of a game this year, too.
It's always up there. I feel like, for the past 3 years, we've always played La Crosse pretty tough. Having it be a TV game always adds a little bit of excitement for some guys. A little bit earlier, too, so it's a little different, but, it's always a good game to be played.
They always play us very tough, and I'm excited to see where it goes this year.
They're going to be extremely hungry for a win. It's going to at their place. It's going to be hopefully a good crowd. It's going to be a great game. It always is.
Oh yeah, it's a really exciting game. The fact that it gets to be televised, locally, is really cool. So we get to kind of play under that kind of circumstances, like really sweet for us. So we're all real excited and we're all ready to go out there on Saturday.
This is, of course, not the only rivalry game going on in the conference today. UW-Stout and UW-River Falls both seeking their second conference win. They meet at Raymer Field. We also have UW-Whitewater hosting Stevens Point at 1 o'clock. Warhawks won last year 35-27. The late game is Platteville at Oshkosh in a game that could well decide which team makes the postseason in a few weeks. I'll have updated scores for you at halftime. But for now, we need to take our first time out here on the Kai Chevytown Game Day Report. When we return, we look back at how each team got to this point. We're back in a moment. Welcome back to the Kai Chevytown Game Day Report, closing in on the 84th meeting between the UW-Eau Eagles and the UW-Eau Claire Blugolds. Time now to reflect on the season for each team. We begin with the visiting Eagles, who already have their most wins in a season since 2009. UW-Eau opened the Mike Schmidt era with a 45-14 win over Luther College, racking up 481 yards of offense in the process. Tarek Yagi threw for 189 yards and 2 touchdowns in his debut. Schmidt was able to record another milestone week 2 as the Eagles blew out Ripon College 65-14 in the home opener. UW-Eau scored 28 points in the opening quarter and finished the day with 536 yards of total offense. The 65 points were the most scored by the Eagles since 1950. UW-Eau started fast once again against Carroll University 2 weeks later, scoring the first 35 points of the game. The Eagles' defense made the big plays, scoring 2 touchdowns off fumble recoveries as the Eagles won 41-7.
A lot of the coaching, they really get on us every day saying, draw a line in the sand and don't let them get by you. I mean, really showing your presence of where you're at and just not letting them get by you. And it's the most fun I've ever had playing football in my entire career, just having a good start of 3-0. It just makes the game more enjoyable to play as a whole, and things click a lot better as a unit and as a team.
UW-Eau opened conference play at home against River Falls. After falling in overtime each of the last 2 years, UW-Eau took a 28-0 lead into halftime and never looked back, winning 35-14. Yagi threw 2 touchdowns and ran for another, and Tyler Jenkins rushed for a season-high 139 yards. UW-Eau moved to 5-0 the next week with a 42-6 rout of UW-Stout. After a slow start offensively, Jenkins led the way with 3 more rushing touchdowns, and Dante Marski helped UW-Eau rack up 313 receiving yards. So that set up a showdown with 5-0 Whitewater at Roger Herring Stadium. A record crowd of 5,373 gathered to watch the Eagles face the number 2 team in Division III football. UW-Eau outgained the Warhawks, but 3 early turnovers allowed Whitewater to take a 21-6 lead in the second quarter. But the Eagles battled back. Yagi, who threw for more than 400 yards and 2 touchdowns, later scored on a QB keeper to give UW-Eau a 22-21 lead after 3 quarters. But turnovers once again cost UW-Eau a chance to win the game. The Eagles gave the ball away 4 times on the day, allowing Whitewater to seal the win. The Eagles fell 32-22, but walked away with confidence.
We measure up against any team in the nation. I think we proved that today, that we can hang with any team in the nation. We are a hard-fighting team, and then we showed that today.
I think the guys, play the most definitely know that we can play with anybody out there. And I think that once we were up 22-21, I think the rest of the guys on the team sort of bought in, and we really believed we could win.
The remaining schedule for the Eagles: next week they return home to face Stevens Point. The following week they head east to face Oshkosh. The season finale is November 12th against Platteville. UW-Eau Clare comes in at 1-5, having lost 3 in a row. Bob Bredovich has a recap.
UW-Eau Clare got the season going at Carson Park against St. Thomas. The defending Division III runners-up came in ranked 4th in the country, but it was the Blugolds striking first. JT Den Hartog connected with Brody Diggins on a 63-yard touchdown pass, and Eau Clare led 6-0 after 1. But the Tommies took control with 21 second-quarter points en route to a 42-6 win.
This is what college football is, and this is the kind of level you're going to see. And having us, be able to play for at least, a couple quarters through that is, hey, we can play with anyone that we want to.
After a 25-7 loss at Concordia, another MIAC program, the Blugolds got a week off and then traveled to Milwaukee to face Wisconsin Lutheran. UW-EC got off to a great start, with Den Hartog throwing a pair of first-quarter touchdown passes, and the Blugolds kept it going after that. Den Hartog ran for a 37-yard touchdown and tossed 2 more TD passes to Matt Knopp. Eau Clare coasted to a 40-14 win over the Warriors, the Blugolds winning for the first time since November of 2014.
I think it just gave us a lot of confidence and showed us that we can, handle teams when we play the way that we know that we can.
UW-EC hoped to carry that momentum forward into homecoming in front of a crowd of nearly 4,200 fans. But the Blugolds fell behind 14-0 after 1 quarter to Stevens Point. Eau Clare was able to get back into it thanks to a productive ground game. Sophomore Ryan Kalaga had touchdown runs of 35 and 9 yards. His second TD got the Blugolds within a point early in the 4th quarter. But that's as close as they would get. Stevens Point pulled away for a 28-19 win. The following week at River Falls, the Falcons jumped out early on the Blugolds and kept piling it on, building a 27-0 lead. Eau Clare never quit and put up 21 fourth-quarter points, but it wasn't enough. The Blugolds got beat by the Falcons 41-21. Last week was more of the same for UW-EC. Stout took control of the game early. The Blue Devils built a 20-0 lead by the break and coasted to a 30-7 win to retain the Warren I-94 trophy. The loss dropped the Blugolds to 0-3 in the conference and 1-5 overall. Now Eau Clare is hoping home field helps it to get off to a better start today against La Crosse.
Big emphasis this week is, starting fast, finishing fast. So we want to play a full 4 quarters of football. We don't want to let up on the gas at all. We just want to go out and, let it rip.
Thank you, Bob. Eau Clare will also finish the season with 2 of 3 at home. They take on Whitewater next week before traveling to Platteville the following week. Season finale is also November 12th against Oshkosh. We need to take another timeout here on the Kai Chevytown Game Day Report. When we return, we head to Carson Park to join Bob Bredovich and Scott Emmerich. Stay with us. Welcome back to the Kai Chevytown Game Day Report. About 15 minutes away from kickoff between UW-Eau and UW-Eau Clare. WQOW Sports Director Bob Bradovich and WXOW Sports Director Scott Emmerich will call today's action. They join us now from Carson Park with a preview. Good morning, gentlemen.
Nick Tabbert, good morning to you and welcome to a very sunny Carson Park. Absolutely beautiful conditions for this 84th meeting all time between the Blugolds and the Eagles. Scott, as we talk about some of the key players in this matchup, we're going to hear a lot of familiar names, guys who've been part of this rivalry before. But on the lacrosse side, two quarterbacks who are new to this rivalry, Tarek Yegi, Ben Shramsky. Yegi, the starter, he's injured. Shramsky, the guy who's going to have to step up.
Yeah, Tarek Yegi, who's meant so much to this UW-Eau offense and its resurgence this year, will not play today. He injured his left shoulder last week against Whitewater. It's his non-throwing shoulder, but still not good enough here to play today. In his place, Ben Shramsky, a transfer from Concordia St. Paul. Now, Shramsky played 6 games as a freshman last year for them. And Shramsky will have plenty of playmakers to go to, including senior receiver Joel Oxton. Oxton has 35 catches for 521 yards this season to go with 4 touchdowns. He's third in the WIAC in receptions. Now, another guy who's emerging as a big-time weapon is freshman Dante Marski. Marski has back-to-back 100-yard receiving games, including 8 catches for 141 yards against Whitewater last week. Defensively, Eau Claire will have to account for defensive end Sam Phillips on every play. The 6'4", 240-pound sophomore can rush the passer and stop the run. Phillips has 9 tackles for a loss this season and leads the team with 4 sacks. Bob, it's a defense that's kind of played in the shadows of this offense this season, but the UW-Eau defense has held 4 of its 6 opponents to 270 total yards or less this season.
And Scott, on the Eau Claire side of things, a number of familiar names are back, including the quarterback, JT Den Hartog, the sophomore out of Hopkins, Minnesota. He was a transfer from Minnesota Duluth. Den Hartog last season completed just under 55% of his passes. He threw for 1,244 yards with 4 touchdowns, but also 8 interceptions. He has made some big strides this season. Completion percentage down to about 52%, but Den Hartog has already thrown for 998 yards and 9 touchdowns with just 2 picks. He has also run for 187 yards and a pair of TDs. Den Hartog's favorite target is Matt Knopp, the senior out of Eau Claire Memorial High School. Had the second most all-purpose yards in the WIAC last season. He is leading that category in the conference this year, 1,100 all-purpose yards through 6 games. Knopp has carried the ball. He has also thrown a pass, plus he returns punts and kicks. When it comes to running the football, the Blugolds do it by committee. Sophomore Ryan Kalaga did have an 87-yard day with a pair of touchdowns against Stevens Point 3 weeks ago. Defensively, the Blugolds still run the 3-4, and that gives the linebackers plenty of chances to make plays, although leading tackler Caleb Stangler is injured, will not play. Brandon Litke, one of the other playmakers at linebacker. On the back end, Bo Casper is a guy who always seems to be around the action. Scott, let's talk a little bit about keys to the game for Eau Claire. Dan Larson says they got to start fast. In their 3 WIAC losses, they've dug a hole for themselves. They just haven't been able to get back out of that. The other thing is hang on to the football. They're only -1 in turnover margin, but those turnovers have come at inopportune times. And the third thing they're going to have to do is get some energy here in front of the home crowd. What about lacrosse? What are the keys?
2 things that stand out to me, Bob. First of all, I think Mike Schmidt would like to get his running game going again. It was really good at the beginning of the year. The last 2 weeks, though, Stout and Whitewater have kind of held it in check. So I think they'd like to get the running game going. That would help Ben Shramsky get going, too, and take some pressure off the first-time starter this year. Also, don't get caught looking ahead. The Eagles have some big games coming up. You and I could talk about them in the media with Oshkosh, Platteville, and Stevens Point coming up. Those are some big games. Don't get caught looking ahead. Treat this like the rivalry game that it is, and they should be fine.
Scott and I are going to head up to the broadcast booth. After the break, Nick Tabbert will take you the rest of the way on the Kai Chevytown Game Day Report.
Welcome back to the Kai Chevytown Game Day Report. A unique scenario this year in that both head coaches are in their first season. WXOW Scott Emmerich sat down with Mike Schmidt earlier this week.
But I always knew that I wanted to be ready for this job and be ready to get this job by the time I was 30 years old. I said that the whole time, and it opened up when I was 30 years old, and that was the way it kind of worked out.
Lacrosse Eagles to the field.
I don't know that you're ever ready for your first full-time head coaching job, but we've done the best we can, hired the best coaches we can around us, but yeah, I always wanted to be in this position that if it did, because you don't get to choose when it opens up.
Is the program right now, is it ahead of where you thought, or do you feel like this could be where you are right
Well, I think when the schedule came out, we thought this was where we could be at. No, nothing against our previous 5 opponents, but we certainly thought that we could be at this point. And I thought the whole time that we'd be in a position to compete against Whitewater and Platteville and Oshkosh and those guys, and Point and Eau Claire coming up here. We're only halfway through. We thought we'd be at this spot. I always thought we'd be playing Whitewater, and I always thought we'd set the attendance record. I said that from almost day one to our staff. With our staff, we talk about we got to beat all the teams on the western side of the state. We got to find a way to win those games, and then we got to try to make those steps up to the next grouping. And Eau Claire is one of those games. The biggest jump was when I went to Platteville and learned how to have fun again in coaching and in football, and that really has formed it where we work really hard and we're going to push each other and compete really hard, but at the same time, ultimately, we have to make it fun and enjoyable for the players. And had I not had that experience at UW-Platteville, I probably wouldn't have been ready for this job. And we've got a lot of season left, and I think our guys really know that and understand that we can do a lot of great things, but there's still a lot of season left that we've got a lot to prove. So to say that we're back, not quite yet. Put the pause on that.
Thank you, Scott. On the other sideline, Bob Bradovich spoke with Dan Larson earlier this week.
The big part of this is we've got to just continue to stress, the football is a year-round endeavor. It really is. And I think that was part of when I first got here that I really saw our upperclassmen, I really saw our leaders making a commitment to football year-round. We've, set expectations, and, we've been a little bit more demanding on our players just in terms of the attention to detail and the focus that we need to provide away from the practice field as well. We've added a couple different things from special teams meetings in the mornings to afternoon meetings before practice. Our guys are doing kind of football homework and handing it back into coaches. So I think that part of it has gone well. I think we have come a long way in that part of it. It hasn't necessarily translated to wins, but I think the type of football that we've been playing on Saturdays it has started to increase. I think some of the awareness our guys have shown on the football field for a lot of detail and a lot of little things that maybe weren't always necessarily they were aware of in the past, I think has grown as well too. So all that stuff will lead to wins. It's going to be frustrating at times, but we know brighter days are around the corner for us.
When you look at lacrosse, what kind of a team are you seeing this year?
Well, they're very well coached, first and foremost. Offensively, they're different than basically about any team that we played so far. They're extremely fast and up-tempo. They're going to have probably between 85 to 98 snaps offensively is kind of what they're averaging right now per game. And so they're going to go real fast. They use a lot of tempo. And then defensively, they're a little bit undersized, but they move around and they play with athleticism. They play with a lot of speed. Very disciplined. They get after the football. They've caused a lot of turnovers this year. Overall, it looks like a team that's playing with a lot of confidence right now.
For you guys, what are the keys going to be?
Well, I think we got to get off to a better start than what we have here over the last couple of weeks. The first quarter seemed to kind of been our slowest quarter, and that's got to change. We have to come out and play with a different sense of urgency, I think. And offensively, I know the one aspect that we've really struggled with the last 3 weeks is, we've been carrying a slippery football. Obviously being able to establish the run and take away some of their deep shots that they're going to take from a passing game standpoint offensively will be important from a schematic standpoint. But mentality-wise, coming out in that first quarter and starting out and playing fast and really trying to limit the amount of possessions they get by taking care of the football. Those are going to be huge things for us to be able to win a football game here Saturday against La Crosse.
Thank you, Bob. We need to take our final time out here on the Kai Chevytown Game Day Report. When we come back, we wrap things up. Stay with us. We are just about out of time here on the Kai Chevytown Game Day Report. Coming up at halftime, we're going to hear from Tarek Yegi. I know he's not playing today, as Bob and Scotty alluded to, but he's had quite the journey. He's bounced around playing on the West Coast and the East Coast before finally finding a home at UW-Eau. We'll have that for you as long as some score updates. Scott and Bob have the call next. Enjoy the game, everybody. We'll see you at halftime.
Whole area gets amped up.
It's a really exciting game.
La Crosse and Eau Claire are 2 programs under new leadership, looking to regain their status among the conference's elite.
It did kind of come out of nowhere. We kind of shot out of a cannon.
The TV game always adds a little bit of excitement.
It's the 84th meeting between these 2 rivals. The Eagles and Blugolds from Carson Park is next.
Good morning from Carson Park in Eau Claire. An absolutely beautiful day here in western Wisconsin for the 84th meeting all time between the Blugolds and the Eagles. Bob Radovich, Scott Emmerich with you up in the booth. Scott, couldn't ask for better conditions on game day.
Bob, this sure beats the 13 degrees we had here 2 years ago at Carson Park for this ball game. Intriguing matchup here. Lacrosse trying to make their way back up into elite status. Eau Claire as well rebuilding under Coach Dan Larson, and a couple rookie head coaches colliding here. It'll be interesting to see how this maps out. Lacrosse coming in at 5-1, Eau Claire at 1-5.
And interesting, Scott, because both of these head coaches played at their respective programs. Dan Larson, an 03 grad of UW-Eau Claire. Mike Schmidt, an 08 grad of UW-L.
And we'll get a first look here at UW-L's offense here. They have been sensational this year, really turned things around. And with a new quarterback, though, first-time starter Ben Shramsky. And interesting, Bob, this is the third straight year Lacrosse has come into the Lacrosse-Eau Claire rivalry game without their preferred starter at quarterback. The last 2 years was Trent Cummings out with injury. This year, Tarek Yegi will not start because of that sprained shoulder.
Austin Colden doing the kicking for the Blugolds. We are underway from Carson Park. That one's going to land in the hands of Ryan Cruiser. Cruiser to the 20, gets out to about the 25-yard line, and that's where the Eagles will start their opening possession with Ben Shramsky, the quarterback. Tyler Jenkins is his running back. The receivers, Joel Oxton, Ryan Cruiser, and Samuel Zwig. Nolan Bargender is the tight end. Up front, the center, Ellis Johnson. The guards, Jesse Paisley, Ryan Scanlon. And the tackles, Nate Newberry and Dylan Bauer. 1st and 10, Eagles from their own 25.
Let's go now, Blue. Let's go, Blue.
It's Bargender in motion to the right side of the formation. Shramsky to throw. He's got Zwig, and it's a gain of about 6-7 yards on 1st down. For the Blugolds on defense, they run the 3-4 alignment. Isaiah Watkins is the nose tackle. The ends, Joseph Elbert and Charlie Brookshaw. Linebackers on the inside, William Cooley, Colin Groves, Brandon Lidke, Sam Romansky on the outside, Michael Prefer, Ross Kern on the safeties, Ryan Ames, Bo Casper are the corners. That's Casper knocking Zwig out of bounds, but it's a 1st down for the Eagles.
This has been typical UWL offense all year. The quick hitters to the outside. Once they get near midfield, look for them to take a shot. A good start for Shramsky, 2 for 2.
Crosse operating quickly on offense. Shramsky looking left again. He's got his receiver. That's Oxton. Another good gain on 1st down to set up a 2nd and short.
Shramsky, even though he's making his first start, Bob, he has seen action in 3 games this season in mop-up duty, 3 for 5 for 42 yards. Started 6 games at Concordia St. Paul last year as a freshman before transferring.
All passes so far for the Eagles, and another completed pass. The chains keep moving for the Eagles. Nick Holcomb on the receiving end of that pass from Shramsky.
Well, exactly what you want to do if you're Jake Landry, the offensive coordinator. Get Shramsky going, a lot of quick hitters, get him some confidence.
Oxton split wide to the left. They'll hand off to Jenkins, and he brings it down to the 42-yard line. Tyler Jenkins comes in averaging around 85 yards a game. The 3rd leading rusher in the WIAC. He's got 7 touchdowns this season. Taken down that time by Brandon Lidke, and that's going to bring up a 3rd and 4 for the Eagles.
One of the big improvements this year for Bob, 3rd down conversions for the UWL offense. They've converted 54% so far this year, best in the WIAC.
They'll split Oxton wide to the left. Zwig in the slot left. Shramsky looking left, incomplete. Try to get it to Zwig. Big hit that time by the Blugolds. Coming up is Drew Hurley, sophomore safety.
Decision time now for the Eagles on 4th down, and looks like they're going to punt. One thing Dan Larson told me about this defense for Eau Claire is that they've improved significantly. They've really made other teams work to get downfield and score points, and there's a nice stop there for the Blugolds defense.
Zach Kirby on to do the punting for the Eagles. Michael Prefer Jr. back for the Blugolds. He is standing on his own 10-yard line. Kirby kicks it away. It is a high kick. Fair catch signaled by Prefer. The Eagles are going to down that one right at the 1 yard line. So great special teams play that time by UW-Eau.
Some of the Blugolds coaches were saying that the UW-Eau defenders were actually in the end zone when they touched the ball. But in college football, you can do that. You can have your body, your feet in the end zone. In the pros, it's the opposite. You can't be in the end zone when you touch the ball.
Let's check that Blugolds starting lineup on offense. JT Den Hartog, the sophomore quarterback. Brian Kalaga is the running back. The receivers, Matt Knopf, Tyler Korth, Le'Shawn Evans, Ty McLaughlin is the tight end. Jake Cooner's the center. Brandon Carl, Max Lutz the guards. Zach Shepard, Ben Wolf are the tackles. Den Hartog hands to Kalaga. Contact right at the line of scrimmage. He's brought down after no gain. For the Eagles on defense, they run a 4-3 alignment. Jacob Woodkey, Brock Hertrap up front at the tackles. The defensive end, Sam Phillips, Staken Coons. Linebackers, Peter Crean in the middle, flanked by Michael Garvey and Noah Risch. The safeties, Ryan Weber, Peter Kissling, Matt Willickett, Steve Law are the cornerbacks. 2nd and 10 now for the Blugolds. Again, they hand off to Kalaga, who's hit and taken down by Steve Law.
Tough challenge here for the Eau Claire offensive line, which has been dealing with some injuries up front. And here you are backed up on your own 1 yard line on the opening possession.
Left guard Brandon Carl injured. Michael Elam taking his place, number 72. 3rd and 9 for the Blugolds. Backed up in the shadow of their own goalpost.
Just a first down or two on this drive would be a victory for Eau Claire, just to get it out of the shadow of their own goalpost.
You're going to hand it off to Kalaga, who goes straight up the middle. Short gain, and that'll bring up 4th down punting situation for the Blugolds.
So Mike Schmidt playing the field position game, choosing not to go for it in Eau Claire territory. They down the punt at the 1 yard line, and now Ryan Cruiser set to return for the Eagles and a chance to set up the Eagles in great field position.
Punting for the Blugolds, number 3, Ian Scott. He gets that one away. Cruiser has it at his own, or at the Blugolds 34. Taken down inside the 30, but it'll be great field position for the Eagles on their 2nd drive. Megan Knipe is the 3rd member of our broadcast crew. She'll be reporting from the sidelines. Let's check in with Megan right now and talk about some field conditions.
Well, hey guys, I am down on the field at Carson Park right now, and essentially you couldn't ask for a better day here to play football. It's low 50s in temperature, it's sunny, and no real wind to speak of. On top of that, this turf is only 2 years old, and it hasn't rained lately. So the ground is very dry, and footing should not be an issue. Overall, it's basically an ideal day to play and watch football here at Carson Park.
That's how we dial it up here in Eau Claire, isn't it, Bob?
Well, except for 2 years ago when we were scraping frost off the windows of the press box. That was Ryan Cruiser on that carry. Gain 4, 2nd and 6 Eagles from the Blugolds 23. And right up the middle for a big gainer that time for the Eagles. Austin Mancuski. And it's a 1st and goal Eagles from the 9.
Mike Schmidt talked about wanting to get Mancuski involved a little bit more. We haven't seen him much the last few weeks. And here he is in the 2nd series of the game. Almost broke that one for a touchdown.
Schramsky looking left to the end zone. Caught. Touchdown. UW-La Crosse, Joel Oxton on the receiving end. Eagles striking first. They take a 6-0 lead with 10:09 to go here in the 1st quarter.
Here's another look at it. One thing Mike Schmidt told me this week, he said, we have completed an enormous amount of back shoulder passes and fades this season, even way more than you'd expect. They're kind of low percentage throws, but the Eagles nail it right there. Schramsky to Oxton. Schramsky's first touchdown pass of the season. Eagles on the board.
Joshua Fisher for the extra point. That is up and good. 7-0. La Crosse over Eau Claire. More WIAC football right after this.
Number 18, Joshua Fisher to kick off for Lacrosse.
Back at Carson Park, Lacrosse on top, 7-0 over UW-Eau Claire. Touchdown pass, Ben Shramsky to Joel Oxton. Kick by Joshua Fisher, taken on the near side by Matt Herring. Herring across the 20, to the 25, to the 30. Matt Herring, good return, out to about the 33-yard line. That's where the Blugolds will start their second possession. We do have a penalty flag down on the field.
Yeah, this one might be coming back for an illegal block. This will set Eau Claire back up inside the 20 again.
Not great field possession, but certainly better than what the Blugolds had on their opening possession when they were backed up to their 1-yard line. Chuck Morning is our referee today. Mark Gatta, Jeff Gould, Jeff Toxey, Sayer Jackson, Todd Marr, and Joshua Cayley rounding up the officiating crew today here at Carson Park. Blugolds will begin at their own 11-yard line. Will be Den Hartog operating out of the pistol formation. A hand to Matt Knopp. Knopp taken down for a very short gain.
You're going to hear a lot of Matt Knopp. I think Coach Larson wants to get the ball in his hand as much as possible. The team's leading receiver. He's also good at running those jet sweeps, although the Eagles smelled that one out.
Leads the WIAC in all-purpose yardage, 167 yards per game. He carries the ball. Remember, Scott, he was a high school quarterback. He's even thrown a pass this season. Second and 10, Blugolds. Antoine Moore, the running back, to the right of JT Den Hartog, who is looking to throw. He'll throw it out to Moore. Moore across the 15, taken down. He gets out to the 18-yard line.
Here's another look at it. You see the receiver. You can't see the receivers, but off to the left part of your screen, the receivers already started blocking downfield by the time Moore caught the pass, and he turned it upfield and made a nice gain out of it.
Gain of 7. It'll bring up a 3rd and 3 for the Blugolds.
That was one of the keys for Coach Larson. Stay out of 3rd and long situations. This is more manageable, 3rd and 3.
Leishawn Evans split wide to the left. Matt Knopp in the slot right. Den Hartog gets it out to Moore, and he's taken down right away. He might have lost a yard there. It'll be 4th down for Eau Claire.
Steve Law playing his cornerback position, came off the receiver and made the stop right there. And I'll tell you what, Coach Schmidt had a bunch of great things to say about Steve Law, a tall, lanky kind of cornerback, a kind of cornerback you usually don't see in the WIAC, but he's got some length and some athleticism, came up and made the play.
Also helping out on that tackle, Noah Risch, leading tackler for UWL. Ian Scott, booming punt.
Beautiful.
Send the returner back to his own 32-yard line, and a penalty flag is thrown as Cruiser takes it out to the 44-yard line. Likely that one is coming back.
It is coming back. They threw it right away, and I didn't quite get the number on who it was. I believe it was 23 for Lacrosse, who was called for the illegal block. Josh Neary trying to create some room for Cruiser, but that'll set the Eagles back inside the 30-yard line after they mark it off.
Penalty flag on the field.
During the return, blocking it back, 23, spot foul, 10 yards, 1st down, Lacrosse.
So this will back up the Eagles. They'll place the ball just across the 20-yard line. And second drive for Ben Shramsky, who was very efficient in that first drive, Scott.
Connected on his first 4 passes and then turned it over to Mankuski. Here's another easy pitch and catch.
He's got Bargain to the tight end across the 25. Colin Groves on the tackle for the Blugolds.
This is what the Eagles offense has become. 4 yards here, 5 yards here, 7 yards there, and then they'll nail you with a deep ball. Dante Marski, number 84, lower part of your screen, has had a big couple of weeks the last 2 weeks.
caught a long touchdown pass in that win at UW-Stout a few weeks ago. They go to Marski on the near sideline. He is taken down after he crosses the 30. They bring it out to the 31. That'll be very close to first down yardage. And they are moving the sticks. First down, Eagles.
This looks very much like the offense they would run if Tarek Yagi were the starter. In fact, Mike Schmidt told me we're not going to change the plan on offense. He's going to run the same plays that Yagi would. And so far, so good for the Eagles on offense.
Troy Bailey in the backfield now for the Eagles. He wears number 30. Ramsky will keep it. And he is hit at the line and taken down.
Outstanding defense there on the far side. Colin Groves took on the blocker, shed him, and then dropped Shramsky for no game. Outstanding play.
Groves came into this game with 28 total tackles along with a sack. 2nd and 10 now for the Eagles. Tyler Jenkins back in at running back. He'll get the carry. Good hole. Jenkins out to the 36-yard line. 3rd and 5 now for UW-Eau.
Well, the Blugolds came up with a big stop on 3rd down on that opening drive. Let's see if they dial up here. Coach Larson says he likes to mix things up with his front 7. Maybe a stunt or a blitz.
Got Cruiser in the slot right. Marski split wide right. Bargander motioning to the far side of the formation. Shramsky is going to run it. Shramsky across the 40, out to about the 41. Close to the first down, but there's a penalty marker down at about the 30-yard line.
Yeah, this one's going to come back. Shramsky, I believe, got enough of the first down, which means Eau Claire will probably take the penalty, and that'll push him back. Make it about a 3rd.
Number 79 on the offense. 10-yard penalty for previous spot, 3rd down.
Jesse Paisley gets flagged for that.
So 3rd and long for the Eagles. Get a look at the crowd here at Carson Park. Beautiful day. If you get a chance, come on out. If not, kick back, enjoy the game. WQOW 18 and WXOW 19. 3rd and 15 from the 26.
Let's see if the Blugolds blitz or if they drop back and play coverage.
Ramsky looking to the right, tried to get it from Marski, incomplete. It'll bring up a punting situation for UW-Eau.
Even if he would have caught it, he would have been about 3 or 4 yards short of the first down. So 4th down now.
Hey, let's go, Blue. Let's go.
Good stop there for the Blugolds on defense. They came in giving up 30 points a game. This is after last year when they gave up 43 a game. That's one of the areas of improvement for Eau Claire.
Yeah, they're 6th in the WIAC in total defense, 6th in scoring defense. Kirby, the rugby-style punt, and that one's going to go out of bounds. Trying to kick it away from Matt Knopp. But the Blugolds will start this drive in excellent field position. They will be at their own 47.
Well, now the field position has flip-flopped here, Bob. Eau Claire getting the good field position now, and that opens up your playbook a little bit more. Let's see if Den Hartog tries to air one out deep here.
First drive for the Blugolds started at their own 1. The second drive at their own 11. This one they will start at their own 47. Blugolds will hand it off to Stephen Paoli II. He's a freshman out of DC Everest High School. He's taken down behind the line of scrimmage.
Noah Risch, who leads the team in tackles for a loss, just added another one to his total right there. He now has 10.5 tackles for a loss on the season. The Holman native filling the hole nicely.
Risch is a player you have to account for, as well as those defensive ends, Sam Phillips and Dakin Coons. 2nd 11 now for the Blugolds. Matt Knopp split wide to the right. Den Hartog. Now he's going to tuck it and run it. Den Hartog across the 50 and into Eagles territory.
Good coverage downfield by the Eagles. Here's another look at it. You get a look at the pass rush. Bertramp had a chance right there for a moment. Couldn't quite track him down. And Den Hartog, who is an excellent runner. We saw him last year. He ran for over 100 yards against the Eagles last year. Break free, setting up a more third down and manageable.
Averages around 31 rushing yards per game. Some by design, other times what you just witnessed. Protection breaks down, he takes off. 3rd and 5 Blugolds. Den Hartog, all kinds of time over the middle. He's got LeSean Evans. He's going to be taken down short of first down yardage. They'll mark him down at the 44.
Evans working against Steve Law that time. 4th and 1. You're 1-5 on the season. You're playing against your rival, and you're in Eagles territory. Why not go for it?
For the Blugolds. Lining up. He's going to go for the first down here. We approach the later stages of this first quarter. Den Hartog will keep it, lowers the shoulder, pushes forward, and he should have the first down based on that spot.
Well, Claire had success running the ball last year against La Crosse, Bob. You remember they ran for over 300 yards and almost came back and won that game down in La Crosse. Den Hartog had over 100 yards rushing himself. This is a different Eagles front, though. Last year they were a 3-4 team. This year a 4-3 team. 4 defensive linemen, 3 linebackers. Tougher to run against the Eagles this year. But Den Hartog did the job there.
And as we talked about in the open, this year for the Blugolds, they don't really have that featured back, more running back by committee. There's no Joel Sweeney or a Daryl Surratt or guys like that that have played for the Blugolds in the past. Corey Sartorelli, when they would hand to somebody about 20, 30 times a game. They don't have that this year. They're trying to mix and match and looking for somebody to emerge out of that running back group.
It also hasn't helped that they've had some injuries on the offensive line, too, so that chemistry between running back and offensive line hasn't developed yet either.
Blugolds, number 8 in the WXOW scoring offense. Just shy of 17 points per game. And they only rush for about 108 yards per game. And that places them 8th in the WIAC after the penalty, 1st and 15. Den Hartog running option left, taken down after a very short game.
Great play by Dakin Coons. He did not fall for the handoff up the middle, played his role, stayed at home, hung with Den Hartog, and stopped him for no gain. Dakin Coons and Sam Phillips. Phillips wears number 8. The 2 linchpins for this defense on the outside. They've been terrific at defensive end for UW-Eau this season.
2nd and 15 now for the Blugolds. Den Hartog will set up the screen. He's got the running back, Antoine Moore, gets a good gain down to about the 36-yard line.
Perfect call. The the Eagles had a blitz coming. They brought 6 defenders. The Blugolds dump it off on the screen. And if it wasn't for Peter Kissling, this one could have been a touchdown. Might have gone the distance.
Yeah, that one really opened up. And as you mentioned, Scott, the perfect call against the blitz. Antoine Moore just one shoestring tackle away from a big gain and maybe 6 points. Minute 30 to go, clock ticking, first quarter. Blugolds trailing 7-0, but on the move. Den Hartog rolling, and he will dive out of bounds. And there's a penalty marker down at the 43-yard line.
Yeah, Dakin Coons just got tackled by the Blugold left tackle.
So instead of 3rd and manageable, it's going to be 3rd and long now for the Blugolds.
Zach Shepard had both his hands wrapped around Dakin Coons' shoulders and just tossed him to the ground. So from 3rd and manageable now to 3rd and long. Interesting decision there by Mike Schmidt. They had Den Hartog stop short of the first down, so it would have been 4th and about 4. So but instead the Eagles choosing to make it 3rd and long.
Again, playing that field position game, 3rd and 15 now for UW-EC. Trips to the right. Pressure coming on Den Hartog, who somehow gets away. Den Hartog now will just have to take it out of bounds. He was under tremendous pressure from Sam Phillips.
Sam Phillips, a tremendous effort here. He just missed the sack initially, got up off his feet and chased Den Hartog down after a short gain of 1, and great coverage downfield. That won't go as a sack because he picked up a yard, but give credit to the coverage downfield.
So the Blugolds lining up to punt. Ian Scott standing at his own 40. Gets the kick away. Cruiser's going to let that thing go, and it goes into the end zone. It'll be Eagles ball. 23 seconds to go here in this first quarter. We'll be back with more football right after this. La Crosse leading Eau Claire 7-0. It was a touchdown pass from Ben Shramsky to Joel Oxton that made it 7-0. Eagles ball after the punt. They'll have it on their own 20. Shramsky will hand it off. Tough yardage right up the middle. Going to give the forward progress out to the 22-yard line. That was Austin Mankuski on the carry. Time ticking down here, and the Eagles will just let this one go to zeros on the scoreboard. 1 quarter in the books here from Carson Park. UW-La Crosse 7, UW-Eau Claire 0. Back with more football right after this. Back at Carson Park, ready to start the second quarter here. UW-La Crosse leading UW-Eau Claire 7-0. Eagles have it 2nd and 8 from their own 22. Shramsky, quick pass to Cruiser, who takes it out to the 25.
Well, Bob, when you're Dan Larson and you're starting a program that didn't win a game last year, you're looking for small victories, and they've got one here with the defense. Check out these numbers. Last year, the Eau Claire defense was giving up 43 points a game and 470 total yards a game. This year, they've cut that down to 30 points a game and 388 total yards. So small victories, but improvement.
And Dan Larson talks all the time about minding the small details because they all add up, and he's harped and harped and harped, he and his staff, to the players about taking care of the little things, both offensively and defensively. Shramsky over the middle, incomplete. Try to get it to Ryan Cruiser. Let's head back down to the sideline and hear from Megan Knight.
Well, guys, as you know, La Crosse and Eau Claire have had a long-standing rivalry that dates back to the 1930s. But in the last 10 years, actually, Eau Claire leads that rivalry 6-4. But what's also interesting is both teams have first-year head coaches, Mike Schmidt and Dan Larson, both of them respective players for their teams. So what you're seeing here today could be a new era of rivalry between La Crosse and Eau Claire.
Thank you, Megan. Zach Kirby standing at his own 10. Rugby-style kick. Matt Knopp is going to have a chance. Knopp takes it at his own 35. Matt Knopp across the 40. Matt Knopp out to midfield and into Eagles territory. Some good starting field position on this next UW-EC drive. Talking to Mike Schmidt this week, Scott, he said coming out of Menominee, he had so many chances to play at Carson Park as a high schooler. He enjoys coming here and certainly enjoyed his time when he was an Eagle player as well.
I'll tell you what, he coached at Platteville, played on the field at UW-Stout, and of course is a former UW-Eau player. I mean, almost every game's like a homecoming for him.
No kidding. Well, he's a gregarious guy. Everybody knows it.
Good field position here for the Blugolds to see if they can take advantage. Still wondering if they'll strike deep here at midfield.
It's Brody Diggins to the near side of the formation. Matt Knopp is on the left side. They'll hand it off. Up the middle goes Antoine Moore down to the 45-yard line. When I talked to Dan Larson this week and I asked him what did he remember, he must have talked for about 5 minutes. He was going chapter and verse on some of the big plays of this rivalry and some of the great games. And I had a lot of fun pulling archive video out and watching games from the past. We'll never forget that. I think it was the 99 game, 49-46, triple overtime.
He was a part of that, and he was a part of those terrific Eau Claire teams from the late 90s. Mike Schmidt, part of playoff teams and conference championship teams from the early mid-2000s. Both these teams' success as players, and now hoping to translate in that into success as coaches.
Den Hartog to Moore, short gain, going to bring up a 3rd and 5. And in both instances, bringing back an alum, somebody who has pride in the program, a lot of connections, knowing alums, former players, all that sort of thing. I think both these guys take so much pride in this institution, and for Larson up here and for Schmidt down at UW-Eau. Third and 5, Blugolds from the 43.
Knopp, single coverage, top of your screen.
They throw to Moore out of the backfield. He's got a lot of room down the sideline. Antoine Moore taken out at the 20, first down, UW-EC.
A little bit of a coverage mistake here for the Eagles, and Moore is wide open. Good patience by Den Hartog, and Moore has kind of emerged here in the early going as sort of a go-to guy out of the backfield.
And Dan Larson, even though he was a defensive player in college, he is the offensive coordinator. Of course, he was the O coordinator at Minnesota Duluth before he took the UW-EC job. Stephen Paoli in the backfield now with JT Den Hartog. Diggins split wide right, Knopp wide left. They're looking Knopp's way. They're going up top. Matt Knopp. No signal yet. Touchdown, UW-Eau Claire. The connection of Den Hartog to Knopp, the 6th touchdown reception for the senior out of Eau Claire Memorial. Pretty good coverage by Matt Willickett, but it was Knopp going up high and making a nice catch.
Well, Mike Schmidt's not afraid to put his corners on an island against good receivers. Willickett, though, that time just got beat. Coretta Knopp, he just out-battled Willickett for the ball, and now the Blugolds with a chance to tie it up. Great throw by Den Hartog, too.
Austin Colden for the extra point. Michael Prefer, the holder. Kick is up. And it is good. We are tied here at Carson Park. 11:54 to go here, second quarter. More WIC football right after this. Back at Carson Park, each team with a touchdown pass so far. In the first quarter, it was La Crosse. Ben Schramsky to Joel Oxton for the touchdown. And just before the break, we had JT Den Hartog for UW-EC hooking up with Matt Knopp for the tying touchdown. 7-all, 11:54 to go here, second quarter. Austin Colden getting set to kick off for the Blugolds. Back deep for the Eagles is number 1, Ryan Cruiser, and number 7, A.J. Day. Colden with the kick. Going to come down to Cruiser at the 7. Cruiser across the 20. Tripped up. And a nice play by the Blugolds, Drew Hurley. The safety making the tackle, and the Eagles will start this possession at their own 28-yard line.
Hurley with a nice play there. Otherwise, that crease was forming nicely, and Cruiser would have had a nice big return. See how the Eagles respond here. They haven't faced much adversity this year. Their first 5 games, except for Stout, they've pretty much led start to finish.
Zwig in motion. Handoff, Jenkins trying to run through a tackle, taken down by Ross Curran, but a good gain on first down by Tyler Jenkins. And Scott, on the flip side, this is different territory for UW-EC. In all their WIC games, they've been down sometimes by multiple scores in the first quarter. So to be tied here early second quarter, they got to be feeling really good. Quarterback draw for Schramsky, taken down at the 37. Little to no gain there. It's going to bring up a 3rd and short.
Another great read by Colin Groves. That's the second time Schramsky has kept it after faking a handoff, and Groves has filled in to make the stop either at or near the line of scrimmage.
We'll call it 3rd and 2. Ramsky will hand it off. Jenkins taken down.
And short of the first down.
Yeah, he's taken down right at the line of scrimmage.
Sam Romanski, a guy who Coach Larson singled out to me as a guy who's really improved from start to finish this year, came bursting in from the side to stop the runner short of the first down. And now the Eagles will punt.
Zach Kirby standing at his own 21. Matt Knopp for the Blugolds standing at his own 20. Kirby will kick it away. High kick. Knopp calls for the fair catch, just short of the 30-yard line.
Another big stop for Eau Claire. They've won third downs so far today, and that has been a key for Coach Larson. We need to win third downs, according to the Blugolds, and they have the last couple of drives against that potent Eagle offense, which has been held in check so far.
The other thing Dan Larson talked about this week is kind of using some of this home field energy. It's a really nice crowd here on the home sideline for UW-EC. Of course, you got the band in the one end zone and some high school bands over there as well. When this place is rocking, it's a lot of energy for the home sideline. Den Hartog, designed run straight up the middle, took a big pop, fell forward for a couple yards. Give him a gain of 3. Michael Garvey, number 22, with the tackle.
Impressive start for Den Hartog, Bob. Bill, back in the Stout game, he was taken out for a couple of series in favor of Scott Proctor. Coach Larson just wanted to give Den Hartog another look from the sidelines. Felt like he wasn't really grasping the game plan at the beginning. Then he came back into the game and played much better against Stout, and he's looked good here so far today.
Yeah, sometimes you just need that little different perspective. And one thing Dan Larson also talked about, he said, sometimes guys are just trying too hard, and they're too wound up, and they're not executing the way that the staff would want them to. He said it's just sometimes you just have to get guys to relax and just play the game of football.
Back-to-back runs here by Den Hartog, this time patiently testing the left side. Got a great lead block from his running back there, and then was able to pick up a couple.
3rd and 5 for the Blugolds.
Hey, let's go.
Last time they had a key third down, they threw the screen pass to the near side to Antoine Moore. He's not in the game right now. It's Brian Kalaga, who's the running back.
And Knopp in the slot. Keep an eye on him.
Den Hartog looking left. He connects with the running back. That's Dalton Peterson making the catch out of the backfield, and that moves the chains.
Similar play to what we saw when he tossed it to Moore on the previous drive. Pass to Moore was a big gainer. This toss to Peterson, just enough for the first down.
Dalton Peterson, sophomore out of Lakeville South High School, the Twin Cities. A lot of freshmen and sophomores on this UW-EC roster. One of them is the quarterback, JT Den Hartog. Blugolds will hand it off. Antoine Moore gets it out to the 45.
5 yards on a running play. That's a win for Eau Claire when you consider how much they've struggled running the ball this year. Coming in averaging just 107 yards a game on the ground.
So far, that running back by committee approach has worked in this game for the Blugolds. Moore stays in the backfield with Den Hartog. LeSean Evans, the receiver on the right side. Den Hartog will run it. JT Den Hartog gets to the edge and very close to first down yardage. And they will move the chains. First down Blugolds. Well, in the Eagles territory.
Michael Garvey has this one sniffed out from the start, but Den Hartog made a little hesitation, bounced it to the outside. Great stiff arm on Garvey, and first down yardage.
Den Hartog's got that deceptive speed. You look at him and you don't think he's a real speed guy, but he's very capable with that. Mike Schmidt will take a timeout. Back with more WIAC football after the break. Back at Carson Park, UW-Eau Claire will have the football, 1st and 10 from the UW-La Crosse 49-yard line. Before the break, head coach Mike Schmidt of the Eagles took a timeout. Scott, we can pretty much imagine what he was talking about.
Yeah, he didn't call timeout because there was some confusion on the defense. He brought his whole team over to the huddle and basically let them have it. They are not playing with energy or the kind of passion that he wants to see. And that was part of the keys to the game coming into this one for Bob. Don't look ahead. This isn't a high-profile game like last week was for La Crosse when we had 2 undefeated teams. And right now, the Eagles have not matched Eau Claire's intensity, and Coach Schmidt knows it.
And out of that timeout, Blugolds going to the jet sweep. They hand it to Matt Knopp. He gets 7 yards down to the UWL 42, 2nd and 3. Knopp in the slot to the right side. Then Hartog back to pass. They try to throw the screen, incomplete. Trying to connect with Stephen Paoli. A little bit over his head as Den Hartog was feeling the heat.
Well, the pass rush that time came a little bit quicker than the screen we saw back in the first quarter and was read a little bit better. Noah Risch was in the mix there to make the tackle. We talk about playing with passion. You remember Mike Schmidt from his high school playing days at Menominee High School just down the road here. He was a passionate guy. He was a passionate guy when he played at UW-Eau. So you know this doesn't sit well with him where they are right now.
3rd and 3, Blugolds. They will run the football, pushing forward down to the 40. It's going to bring out a 4th and short.
Interesting decision here for Coach Larson at the 40-yard line. They do have momentum, 4th and 1, and it looks like it's no decision at all. They're going for it.
With Stephen Paoli on the carry, give him 2 yards, 4th and 1 from the 40. Blugolds crowd liking this decision to go for it on 4th down.
Little read option probably from Den Hartog. It's gone well so far for them.
Knopp in motion. Den Hartog will roll. Den Hartog will tuck it up. He's got the 1st down. He goes out of bounds. But it's a 1st down for the Blugolds. They keep the drive alive.
They're working a little game here with number 2, Matt Knopp. It's either going to be a quick hitter right there on the pass, or Den Hartog can choose to pull it back in and run for it if he sees enough daylight, and he does. It stretches out for the 1st down. Good decision.
And you notice what Knopp did on that play. He broke it off to the right, and then when he saw, he also cut it up the field. So look for that play later on, Scott, that out and up from Matt Knopp.
And it forced the defender to run with Knopp, opening up more space.
1st and 10, Blugolds from the 37. Stephen Paoli goes down. He's going to lose a yard.
Yeah, that play was well blocked. It's too bad Paoli slipped because he had at least a 5-yard gain if he hadn't slipped.
So 2nd and 11 for the Blugolds, who've been dealing with fairly good field position after their first 2 drives of this game. Le'Shawn Evans wide to the right, Knopp in the slot right. Antoine Moore in the backfield with quarterback JT Den Hartog. It's Moore on the carry with a lot of room. Antoine Moore inside the 20. 1st down, UW-Eau Claire.
Give credit to the Eau Claire left side of their offensive line. They completely collapsed the Eagle defense that time, and Moore had wide open space.
Antoine Moore in the first quarter, just 1 carry for 3 yards. He busts a big one there down to the 17-yard line. Moore will stay in the game. He's behind Den Hartog. They'll hand it off to Moore, straight up the middle, down to about the 15-yard line.
Get it all!
25, Antoine Moore on the Blugolds also possessing the ball, keeping the ball out of the hands of that potent UWL offense. Already at the 3:20 mark here in the second quarter, this game's flown by.
And obviously they would like to get points out of this drive. At the same time, I think they're content to bleed some of this clock because Eau Claire will receive the kickoff to start the third quarter. Antoine Moore taken down behind the line of scrimmage. Whole host of Eagles there on the tackle.
Noah Risch at his outside linebacker spot came up and met the pulling offensive lineman head on, forced Moore to cut it up earlier than he thought. The help arrived, stopped him for a loss.
3rd down and 10 for.
And you would think, Scott, that this is 4-down territory for the Blugolds, given the fact that they've gone for it a couple times on 4th down in this football game. 3rd and 10 from the 17.
And Eau Claire has not attempted a lot of field goals this season. So, yeah, you're right. It might be 4-down territory.
Just 3 field goals attempted this entire year for the Blugolds. Den Hartog is going to have to dive forward. He gets down to the 15-yard line.
He is going to go for the field goal. Coach Larson sending out the kicking unit.
Football's on the 17-yard line. Austin Colden is the kicker. Michael Prefer is the holder. Keep in mind, Prefer is a high school quarterback. 34-yard attempt. It's a low kick. It is up, and it is good. Austin Colden puts the Blugolds on top. 10-7 is the score. Back with more WIAC football right after this. We are back at Carson Park. Minute 42 to go here in the second quarter. Eau Claire with a touchdown and a field goal in this second quarter to grab a 10-7 lead over La Crosse.
They have momentum. They have the energy. This is going exactly the way Coach Larson had hoped it would go. Rivalry game at home against a team who's having a great year, and they've outplayed them.
Austin Colden approaching the football. It's Cruiser and A.J. Day back in the kick. This is Cruiser. Cruiser to the 20, to the 25, taken down as he crosses the 30-yard line. So plenty of time for this UW-Eau offense. Minute 37 to go.
A quick hitting offense. Shramsky in that first quarter was 8 of 11. Second quarter, the Eagle offense has really bogged down.
And it is the MO of this Eagles offense to run at a fast tempo. So minute 37, plenty of time for UWL. Shramsky throwing to the far side. Zwig on the reception. They say his knee touched. So it's a gain of 5 yards. 2nd and 5 now for UWL.
1:24 to go till halftime. Eagles with 2 timeouts.
Shramsky looking left and taken down hard. Cruiser on the reception. That was Bo Casper, the senior out of Freedom, Wisconsin, laying the wood that time to Cruiser.
Bo Casper, one of the few experienced guys on this defense, read that one perfectly. 3rd down.
Shramsky going deep to the right side, has a man, incomplete, trying to connect with Sam Zwig. And the Blugolds, good coverage that time. Drew Hurley. Zwig had a step on him, Scott, and Hurley did a nice recovery.
Came in and knocked it away at the last second. Swig had both hands on the ball, and now another 3rd down where the Eagles don't convert. Keep in mind, the Eagles are the top 3rd down team in the conference, converting on 54% coming into this game, but the Blugolds have been terrific on 3rd down.
So 4th and short. Kirby back in punt formation. Matt Knopp standing at his own 23 for UWEC. Kirby will kick it away. It's a very high kick. Free catch by Matt Knopp at his own 25-yard line. So the Blugolds offense with 44 seconds will get one more shot. The question is, do they try to move the ball downfield, or do they just play it conservatively, knowing that they will get the second half kickoff?
And the Eagles only with 2 timeouts, so they really can't stop the clock before the clock runs out. They would need 3 timeouts instead of 2, so an interesting decision here. Wouldn't be surprised if they kind of test the waters a little bit, maybe dump off one of those screens that we saw that was successful earlier in this half, just to see how far they get on first down.
Line of scrimmage is the 26. They will send Matt Knopp, Brody Diggins out to the right. Ty McLaughlin, the tight end, will also line up on the right side. Knopp running that out and up. Instead, they'll go underneath. Intended receiver Diggins, he couldn't hang on. Covers that time Peter Crean, the linebacker.
Well, now I expect to see Eau Claire to run the ball and see if the Eagles will use their timeouts.
And as we talked about, they did run Knopp on that out and up down the near sideline. Instead, Den Hartog chose to go to Diggins on the crossing pattern.
Yeah, Knopp was double covered that time. The safety, Kissling, saw that coming and took the deep route. They know where number 2 is. Right now, he's in the slot position.
Well, hand it off to Antoine Moore, met at the line, driven back. And with that, Mike Schmidt's going to burn one of those 2 timeouts. Hoping to get the ball back here.
Here's another look at it. Great job on the far side there. That's a play that the Blugolds have had success with earlier in this game. But Crosse reading it well. Brandon McCandis on that right side playing defensive end.
10-second runoff. Please reset the game clock to 22 seconds. It'll start on my ready.
You hear the explanation from Chuck Morning.
So apparently there wasn't a timeout called because now they're starting the clock, and we'll see if Eau Claire just lets it run out towards the end of the half.
And it looks as if they will do just that. And if you're Eau Claire, looking for your first WIAC win, you have to be happy leading La Crosse, the team tied for second place in this conference. 10-7 is your score at the half. Scott, your impression so far?
Well, I'd hate to be a fly on the wall in the La Crosse locker room, that's for sure. They came into this game figuring and hoping that they would take care of business, but it just goes to show rivalry games, anything can happen, Bob. Very impressed with the way the Eau Claire Blugold offense, especially the offensive line, has handled things.
We're back with more right after this.
With Coach Mike Schmidt, and Coach, you called the timeout midway through the second quarter. What were you seeing at that point, and what did you have to tell your players?
Yeah, we weren't reacting at all. We weren't reacting with any sort of aggression defensively, and we had just been out on a bunch of drives and just wanted to slow it down for a second and get our guys to get a breath, and that way we could kind of gather ourselves and make a stop and get them to ball.
And generally in conference play, Eau Claire has been scoring the majority of their points in the second half. What do you do in the third and fourth quarter to keep them off the board?
Yeah, well, I got to call a better game first. I'm doing it as a coach. Coach Larson's doing a great job. We got to make a bunch of adjustments right now and get our guys in better alignments and better situations. And we got a little banged up in that first half, so a lot of our younger guys are going to have to play a little bit better.
Thank you, Coach. Nick, back to you.
Thank you very much. We've reached halftime. UW-Eau Claire leads UW-Eau 10-7. Welcome inside the studio for the Hometown Chevy Dealers halftime report. I am Nick Tabbert. We will recap the first half in a moment, but we begin with the player who isn't on the field today, Tarek Yagi. It's been quite the journey for the Eagles quarterback, a former Gatorade Player of the Year for Watertown High School. Yagi played on the West Coast, then the East Coast, hoping for a chance to play Division I. It didn't work out, but he's found a home in La Crosse both on and off the field.
It was kind of a no-brainer once I talked to him on the phone.
Tarek Yagi still wants to be a Division I football star, but he's willing to settle for a good education. After traveling to Bakersfield and Buffalo chasing his football dreams, he's back home in Wisconsin, to pursue a biomedical degree.
So I was looking at really Stevens Point and La Crosse. I wanted to be somewhere in the state of Wisconsin. And then I found out that La Crosse had got new coaches, and I heard Sam, they had liked him, and so I got my transfer papers and gave Coach Schmidt a call and told him that I was interested in coming here.
Yeage's experienced the best of both worlds so far, leading the Eagles to a 5-1 record in his first 6 starts. He was named WXOW Offensive Player of the Week following his 400-yard game versus Whitewater, and is the first quarterback in UW-Eau history to throw for more than 300 yards in 4 straight games. Yeage was recruited by UW-Eau in high school, but passed on the offer to pursue his Division I dreams. But his connections to La Crosse brought him back. His father, Brent, was a backup quarterback on the 1985 National Championship team, and Tarek has 3 Watertown teammates on the field with him now, including wide receiver Sam Zwig. It was Zwig who helped convince Yeage to reconsider joining the Eagles, telling him about the up-tempo, fun culture Mike Schmidt was installing.
It's really about what am I going to do that makes me happy, and ultimately it is being able to hang out with guys all the time off the field. I didn't really have that at Bakersfield or Buffalo. I didn't have guys that I could hang out with that were my best friends. So to be able to have that here that's really what convinced me.
Yeage has already cracked the record books with his performance against Whitewater, and if he stays healthy, can challenge existing records for completed passes and passing yards in a single season. Yeage is averaging 274 yards per game and has 10 touchdowns this season. Coming into today, he was also UW-Eau's second leading rusher with 67 yards and 6 touchdowns. We need to take a break here on your hometown Chevy Dealers halftime report. When we come back, we'll recap the first half of action from Carson Park and check in on the rest of the conference. We're back in a moment.
My name is Jessica Carlson. I'm from Madison, Wisconsin, and I'm majoring in elementary education and Spanish education. I hope to one day work at an immersion school. I knew that this would be a really good experience. We're having so much fun with the kids. And there's so many events near campus where I see the kids that I have in class, and it's so amazing to just see them with their families out in Eau Claire, and I love that, they remember me, and it just feels so good to know that, I am making a difference in these kids' lives, and they're making a difference in my life too.
My name is Austin Crowe. I attended UW-Eau Claire and graduated in 2003 with a biology major. Being able to come back and work with the team that I actually played for, it's a very unique and interesting opportunity. It's a fantastic university that's afforded me the opportunity that I have. See, I wouldn't be able to be where I am without this, and now I'm here giving back. So it's kind of cyclical. Hopefully the next athlete I take care of is going to be able to have an opportunity like I did, and someday maybe they'll be the next orthopedic surgeon or who knows what else.
Eau Claire did a really great job in my major providing a lot of fieldwork courses.
In a span of an hour, I was, building a dome to working with the National.
This experience has really changed not only my life, but every individual that went on this trip.
You get to get connected to so many different professors, different faculty.
I never thought I would study abroad in Japan. I never thought I'd really learn Japanese.
I had no idea that I would be able to have this experience.
Welcome back to your hometown Chevy Dealers halftime report. We are halfway through the 84th meeting of UW-Eau and UW-Eau Claire. Right now, the Blugolds up 10-7. Let's take a look at how we got to this point. Beautiful day for football from Carson Park. Eagles set up with great field position for their second drive of the day. Ben Shramsky capitalizes, finding Joel Oxton for the 9-yard score. 7-0 UW-Eau. Blugolds, though, answer in the second quarter with nearly the same pass. JT Den Hartog with the fade to the corner. Matt Knopp has it. We are tied at 7. Blugolds later add a field goal to lead at 10-7. That's where we're at right now. The Eagles looking for a third straight win in this series. The Blugolds trying to maintain their dominance of late in this series. Take a look at what else is going on in the conference today. Because the first half was so fast, we actually don't have any scores from these games yet. Stout and River Falls are both seeking their second conference win. They're going to meet at 1 o'clock. We also have Whitewater hosting Stevens Point at 1 o'clock. And then the late game is Platteville at Oshkosh in a game that really could decide which of those teams makes the postseason in a couple weeks. Big Ten football also going on right now. It is Iowa and Wisconsin. Wisconsin's up 7-3 just before the half. Minnesota playing homecoming today against Rutgers. They lead at 21-10 at halftime up in Minneapolis. For now, we take another timeout here on the hometown Chevy Dealers halftime report. When we come back, Scott and Bob will give their thoughts on the first 30 minutes. That's next.
There's no place like La Crosse, Wisconsin, with the river and the bluffs.
Academic success, athletic success. All of our programs are doing really well right now.
Coming out here and playing my first conference game, I had a bunch of goosebumps, I had chills, I was excited, I was nervous. I felt every emotion that, you can feel.
College, when you think of what that experience is and the growth as a person and as a student and as an athlete, there's no place like UW-La Crosse.
Every single second of my career I've been trying to get back to this job and to be here and to be with these guys. I just, when you're around these people, when you're around these players, when you're around the people that are here, it's just such a family atmosphere, such a home atmosphere. The look of the campus has changed, but the feeling never does. Every time I come back here, every time I drive through here, that you feel that connectedness to the people that are here. And I always say I don't know if it can get any better than what it is right now, and everybody seems to prove me wrong. I don't think that people come to La Crosse without the desire to compete in the classroom. When you think of what college is, between the collegiate atmosphere, the academic competitiveness, and obviously the football tradition, when you think of college, it is La Crosse.
Surround yourself with distinction. Surround yourself with UW-La Crosse.
Welcome back to your hometown Chevy Dealers halftime report. The Packers enjoying the weekend off after beating the Chicago Bears on Thursday night. Ty Montgomery may be the team's saving grace right now. His versatility enabling Green Bay to weather the storm of injuries at running back. Even Don Jackson, the practice squad call-up, went down in that game, leaving 0 true running backs available for Mike McCarthy. Montgomery had 9 carries for 60 yards while also having 10 receptions for 66 yards. The second-year Swiss Army knife, so to say, from Stanford helped the offense stay afloat and eventually thrive against the Bears.
I mean, that's huge. That's huge for our offense. We knew he was capable of doing that, and he made the most of the opportunities he got.
He has a very good feel. Obviously, he's played receiver for a while, but he's got a good feel on the backs of the routes out of the backfield as well. So I'm proud of Ty.
I'm a football player. And, as a football player, I can do anything that's asked of me. That's the mindset I have. That's the mindset that I was raised with. That's the mindset my mom gave me. No matter what it is, she told me to be a versatile athlete. That's what I try to do.
Packers back in action next Sunday against Atlanta. For now, I want to go to Carson Park and check in with Bob Bradovich and Scott Emmerich. They have their thoughts, I should say, on the first half of action. Guys, what do you think of the first 30 minutes?
Back at Carson Park, the Blugolds honoring some conference championship teams from the past. UW-EC's conference champs 1956, 1981, and 2001. Here in 2016, kind of a surprising halftime score. UW-Eau Claire leading UW-La Crosse 10-7. And Scott, when you look at the first half stats, a little surprising that the Blugolds out-rushing the Eagles. UW-Eau Claire coming in as the 8th-ranked team in rushing in the WIAC.
Yeah, they're getting the job done. 23 carries, 62 yards for Eau Claire. Not eye-popping numbers, but they've been just enough. I think JT Den Hartog has done a great job of making decisions on whether to run or hand off on read options. And the Eagles, only 91 total yards in that first half. This is a team that averages 490 per game. They're 400 under their average already. That's a lot to make up here in the second half. And I don't think it's because they're going with their backup quarterback today. I think it's because Eau Claire's defense has been terrific. Eau Claire, especially on third down. UWL came into this game the top team in the league in converting third downs, 54%. Today, the Eau Claire defense has held the Eagles 0 for 5.
Both quarterbacks have been sharp. Ben Shramsky, his first start at UWL, he is 10 of 14 for 63 yards and a touchdown. JT Den Hartog, 8 of 10 for 60 yards and a touchdown. Let's send it down to the sideline where Megan Knipe is standing by with UW-EC head coach Dan Larson.
All right, Coach, you found yourself in a couple tough situations in that first quarter, but you really responded, especially early in the second. Tell me a little bit about that fight and that resilience that you're seeing in your team right now.
Yeah, our guys came out and played a much better half. Some of those things have rattled us before in the last couple of weeks. I thought our guys came out, they stayed together, kept believing. We need another 30 minutes of that.
You talk a lot about taking care of the little things. What about this first half did you see that you really liked, and what still needs a little cleaning up in the second?
Yeah, I thought our defense has done a great job of getting calls in. They play fast and And so it's really important that our guys get back and get aligned and get the signals. And so they've done a great job with that. That was something we struggled with last week. They've done a better job. Offensively, we've taken care of the football. We've converted on some third downs. We haven't put ourselves in a lot of third down and long situations. Those are all little things that we talk about every week. Our guys have done a great job coming out and executing the first half. 30 more minutes. We've got to do the same thing.
All right, thanks, Coach. Bob and Scott, back to you.
Megan, thanks very much. We're going to step aside right now. We will have that second half of action coming up from Carson Park when we return. Back at Carson Park, Blugolds leading the Eagles 10-7 at the half. UW-EC honoring some conference championship teams, 1956, 1981, and 2001. Head coach Dan Larson, part of that 2001 team. But there's also another alum, part of that team, who is still with the program, and Megan Knipe has more on that.
Well, Bob, I was talking to Austin Crowe a little earlier. Like you said, he's from the 2001 squad, but he's also the team's doctor. I got a chance to talk to him earlier about what he enjoys most about working with the Blugolds. His answer? He says it's still being part of a team and having that feeling that you're part of something bigger than yourself. While he has a different role now, he loves that he's able to still contribute to the team and help them along.
Thank you, Megan. We can remember Austin Crowe, who is a very dynamic defensive end, a very fiery player, and still associated with the team, an orthopedic doctor, and has a chance to still be part of this Blugolds program.
Well, this defense here today from the Blugolds has taken a page out of the Austin Crowe playbook. They have played with passion, and it showed here today. Time of possession has been huge, Bob. Eau Claire has dominated the ball, 21-08 to just 8 minutes and 51 seconds for the Eagles on offense, and Eau Claire starts here the second half with the ball.
Joshua Fisher with the boot. Matt Knopp picks it up at the 10. Knopp across the 20 and gets it out to the 24-yard line. Matt Knopp in that first half had the one reception, but that went for 20 yards and a touchdown. He also had 17 yards of punt returns. Matt Knopp coming into this game number one in all-purpose yards among all WIAC players. Blugolds will begin the third quarter from their own 24-yard line. It's Ryan Kalaga in the backfield with the quarterback JT Den Hartog. Design run Den Hartog. Not much doing there on that left side. Michael Garvey leading the rush for the Eagles defense.
Bob, it looks like the Eagles are starting the second half without free safety Ryan Weber, one of their top players. Luke Winnan has replaced him. I saw Weber walking off the field at halftime limping a little bit. So 42 Winnan replacing Ryan Weber, who's one of the Eagles' key players in the defensive secondary.
No gain for Den Hartog. 2nd and 10. Hit behind the line. Good penetration by the Eagles.
Jacob Gerzik came in from his linebacker spot and blitzed, and that play had no chance. Gerzik, number 51, blew it up. Watch him from the right side of your screen. Come in and make the tackle for a loss, or no gain, actually.
Gerzik, the sophomore out of Black River Falls.
Well, this would be a big stop here for the Eagles to start the second half, if they can stop Den Hartog. He hasn't really had to throw deep, and they haven't. And one thing they've done a good job, the Blugolds have avoided those third and long situations, but not here.
Facing a 3rd and 10, trips to the right. Antoine Moore, the running back. Den Hartog will roll to his right. Now he's gone deep. He's got a man, LeSean Evans, inside the 30, taken down at the 26-yard line. There's your big play by the Blugolds.
Peter Green, a linebacker, trying to chase LeSean Evans, a speedy wide receiver, and that just turned out to be a mismatch. LeSean Evans wide open, and could have taken it to the house if it was led a little bit more, but a great pitching catch and 3rd down and a huge play, and the momentum stays with Eau Claire.
Line of scrimmage, the 29-yard line. Handoff, Antoine Moore. He finds a crease on that left side, takes it down to the 22-yard line.
This UW-Eau defense has been on the field quite a bit already today. They're reeling a little bit here.
Antoine Moore, Leishawn Evans, two players coming out of that Chicago area, and that's been a point of emphasis for this UW-EC program in recent years. Try to recruit down in that Chicago area. Moore and Paoli now in the backfield for the Blugolds. They fake the handoff. Knopp. Dan Hartog straight up the middle inside the 15. He's got the first down.
I'll tell you what, Coach Larson is dialing up a terrific game plan here on offense, and Den Hartog is leading the way, making great decisions on the read options, faking handoffs, and keeping it when he should.
Den Hartog in the first half, 9 rushes for 22 yards. Adding to that total right there.
There have only been 2 plays where the Eagles have tackled a blue gold runner behind the line of scrimmage. Blue Gold's always moving forward. I know it sounds simple, but it's so crucial, especially when your rushing game has struggled for much of the season.
Den Hartog will keep it. Cuts it back, getting close down to the 10-yard line. A gain of 3. And again, that time of possession that in the first half was tilted heavily towards UW-EC, they're picking up right where they left off. Matt Knopp will line up wide left, Brody Diggins wide right. Handoff, Paoli. Drops the shoulder. He is inside the 5-yard line.
Just a hair short of the first down, Bob. And a late flag. That's going to be on the Eagles, too. Some extracurricular stuff after the play.
The officials will confer. Chuck Morning and his group.
After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct, defense, number 99, half distance to the goal, first down. That is number 99's first unsportsmanlike conduct penalty towards disqualification.
I don't know if you can see it here at the end of the play, but after
first and goal for the Blue
the
Gold.
whistle had blown, McCandis kept poking away and jousting at the running back Paoli, trying to knock the ball away, but it was well after the whistle.
First and goal, Blue Golds. Den Hartog on the quarterback draw. JT Den Hartog brought down just short. They'll mark him down at the 1. Again, designed run for the quarterback.
If I was the Blue Golds, I'd do this 2 more times. The Eagles have shown they can't stop this play on a consistent basis. Just a little read option left, read option right, and Den Hartog making great decisions today.
Paoli remains in the backfield. Another run for Den Hartog. He is into the end zone. Touchdown. Blue Golds adding to their lead. An impressive drive to start this third quarter. And UW-EC now leading 16-7. Pending the extra point.
Pretty simple play, straight ahead. They've been doing this 3 or 4 times throughout the day, and Den Hartog showing some power, getting across into the end zone.
Den Hartog, they list him 6'3", 215. So he's a big guy and had some tough running on that drive, and of course threw the big pass to Leishawn Evans. Pulled in for the kick. It is good. The Blue Golds leading this one 17-7. More WIAC football right after this. Blue Golds extending their lead over the Eagles. It is now 17-7. 10:05 to go here in this third quarter. Scott, a surprising result to many who follow the WIAC.
Absolutely, and I tell you what, the Blugolds have come out here with a terrific game plan, not too fancy, a lot of running. They got the running game going, which is a bit of a surprise because the Eagles do have a good run defense. And JT Ten Hartog has led the deal.
He's been solid, and I think you can see his evolution as a quarterback now in his second year as a starter. This kick from Colden will carry into the end zone. Well, the home fans very pleased with the result of this game so far. So is Director of Athletics Dan Schumacher from UW-Eau Claire. He is standing by right now with our own Megan Knight.
All right, Dan, so you took this job as athletic director 3 years ago, back in 2014. At that time, what was the potential and what excited you about the Blugolds athletic program?
Well, I think some of the most exciting things was the community, the type of support that you get at a community like Eau Claire. I think you're talking about an outstanding academic institution, and if you can couple that with great athletics, it has great potential for many different things, and it's exciting to be part of it, really is.
And right now, in this time of the year specifically, you have fall sports still going on, you have winter sports just beginning. What is this like for you at this time of the year, mid-fall?
I'm never home, but that's okay, it's a good thing. It's just been an exciting time. What a beautiful day for football. Great atmosphere here at Carson Park. We got hockey starting, basketball. We got some premier sports that are leading the WEAC and a lot of different sports leading into the wintertime. So this excitement just carries over into the winter sports.
All right, thank you, Dan. Bob and Scott, back to you.
Thank you, Megan. La Crosse has moved the ball out to the 41-yard line, facing a 2nd and 5. Shramsky with time, looking deep, trying to connect with Sam Zwig, but he was well covered that time. Tony Tierney, the cornerback, defending for the Blugolds.
It's the first time Shramsky has really gone deep in this game. Entering this drive, he was 8 of 11 on the game for just 55 yards passing, though. First time going deep, unable to connect.
Big play here for the Eagles, facing a 3rd and 5 from their own 41. They would like to give their defense a little bit more time on the sideline. For that defense gave up a scoring drive to the Blugolds on UWEC's first possession of this second half. Shramsky looking right. He's got Zwig. Zwig lunges forward to the 50, and that's a first down UWL.
Now that was a pass with confidence because there was a lot of traffic here on the near side of the field. Watch as Shramsky throws. There's a couple receivers and 3 defenders, but Shramsky threaded the needle, and picked up the first down. First 3rd down conversion for the Eagle offense today.
Handoff, Jenkins cuts outside. He had a lot of running room. Hauled down from behind. Ross Curran on the tackle.
Tackle by number 6.
Eagles in that no-huddle offense, they are moving now.
Number 8 for the Blugolds on tackle.
Jenkins had a quiet first half, 4 carries for 6 yards, but a couple of nice runs to start this drive here in the 3rd quarter.
Cruiser in motion. Shramsky right up the middle. He's got a first down.
Tell you what, Ross Curran delivered a blow right at the end of that run that shook the cage of Shramsky, but Shramsky right back up.
First and 10 Eagles from the Blugolds 37. Shramsky throws to the left. Cruiser had it, couldn't hang on.
Blugolds run a base 3-4 defense, but Coach Larson says they like to go with 2 defensive linemen and 2 stand-up linebackers on occasion as well, and that's what they're doing on this drive. 2 defensive linemen, 2 stand-up linebackers to see if that gets them going. It's given the Eagles trouble so far.
And there you see that alignment, the 2 down linemen.
It's almost like a nickel package, a lot like what we see with the Packers, what they play a lot on Sundays.
Cruiser in motion. He'll take the handoff. Cruiser slips a tackle, knocked out of bounds right around the 30-yard line.
You're down at the 30-yard line. The UW-Eau kicking game hasn't been that great of late, so you get thinking if you're Mike Schmidt, you have 2 plays to get these 3 yards. Cruiser, number 1, a former UW-Eau basketball player, actually a current UW-Eau basketball player too. He'll join Ken Cable's defending conference champs back on the basketball court when this football season is over.
3rd and 3 Eagles. The jumbo package here. And running the football is Shramsky, and he will have a first down. And Michael Prefer, safety for UW-Eau Claire, is down on the turf. There'll be an injury timeout.
Well, the Eagles got a little something going here, and I think they went back to their basics with their running game. We'll talk more.
More WISC football coming up right after this. UW-Eau Claire leading UW-La Crosse 17-7, but UW-L moving the football on its first drive of this third quarter. Looking to answer a Blugolds scoring drive on UWEC's first possession. Shramsky running the football, taken down by Ross Curran.
Well, Shramsky would have just hesitated a bit. He had Tyler Jenkins, the running back, as a lead blocker for him, but he didn't give Jenkins a chance to set up that block. Otherwise, it could have been a big gainer.
Shramsky, a transfer from Concordia St. Paul, where he was one of those dual threat quarterbacks.
Yeah, this situation is not too big for him. He has played plenty of college football, so filling in for Tarek Yagi is not that big of a deal. Shramsky's seen a lot of action.
2nd and 7 for the Eagles. Shramsky rolling, throwing to Milliken, the tight end, who's knocked out of bounds at the 14-yard line.
Blugolds bring a blitz that time off the left side, and that left the left side open for Milliken. Nice little dump off and a gain and a first down. Drive continues for La Crosse.
Line of scrimmage is the 15.
Milliken's more of the receiving tight end for the Eagles. 12 catches, 101 yards, and a TD this year. Bargender more of the blocking tight end.
Troy Bailey, the running back, standing to the left of Ben Shramsky. Bailey on the carry, gains 3 yards, bring up a 2nd and 7.
Number 30, Troy Bailey on the carry.
Bailey with 2 hands on the football there too, Bob. He had a tough moment last week against Whitewater with the Eagles driving to tie that game late in the fourth quarter. Fumbled into the end zone and Whitewater recovered, and that was pretty much the game after that.
We're moving right along here. We are under 6 minutes to go in this third quarter. Shramsky will keep it. Shramsky into the end zone. Touchdown.
Number 10,
UW-La Crosse answering UW-Eau Claire's scoring drive. A scoring drive of its own.
Well, we've seen this with Eau Claire a lot. That time Shramsky pulls it out of the belly of Jenkins and keeps it himself and tucks it in and takes it in all the way.
So each quarterback with a rushing touchdown in this third quarter.
First of the season for Shramsky.
Joshua Fisher on for the PAT. And that is up and good. UW-Eau Claire 17, UW-La Crosse 14, 5:39 to go here, third quarter.
Needless to say, Bob, a huge drive for multiple reasons for La Crosse. First of all, they went 80 yards on that drive. Also, it kept the defense off the field. They needed a rest, and it got some momentum back on their side as well. I think the offense needed that drive as well to pick up some yards, help that time of possession stat, which has gone the other way in Eau Claire's favor.
During the half, Scott, I took a little walk, and I actually overheard Mike Schmidt talking to his UWL assistants outside the UW-La Crosse locker room, and Schmidt just kept saying, "We're good, we're fine, we're okay. Let's just keep this going." It didn't seem too rattled, despite the fact that they were down at that point.
Well, that's Mike Schmidt for it.
Let's send it down to the sideline. Megan Knipe has an injury update.
Number 18, Joshua Fisher will kick off for UW-La Crosse.
You know, Bob, you said Mike Schmidt was kind of calm and even-keeled with his coaches, but I wonder once he got inside the door if the tone of his expression and what he had to say was raised just a bit to his players.
Yeah, and I just think, you know, we've touched on it in this game. For UW-Eau, they had that huge home game last week against UW-Whitewater and expended so much emotional energy. Sometimes it's tough to come back from that. Here's Matt Knopp, a good return. He crosses the 40-yard line, so there's what Matt Knopp can do to get your offense in a good position to begin the next drive. But it's a difficult game. It takes such a physical toll. It takes an emotional toll. You're on the road the next week. You can know where other teams are in the conference. You can read standings if you're a player, and sometimes it's tough to get that emotion going and prior to a game, and then if it's not going your way early, it's tough to generate that within a game. JT Den Hartog will keep on the read option, diving forward. He crosses the 40-yard line. Now let's send it down to the sideline where Megan Knipe has an injury update.
Hi, guys. Yeah, we saw Mike Pryfer. He left the field a little bit ago. He was assisted off the field and slow to get up. However, as he was leaving, he was reassuring his teammates that he would be okay. However, he did leave the field completely, and so we're not quite sure if he'll be back yet.
Michael Pryfer Jr., the starting safety for the Blugolds, and he is also the holder on PATs and field goal attempts. 2nd and 7. They swing it to the near side to Matt Herring, sophomore out of Naperville North High School in the Chicago area.
Great lead block here on the near sideline. Linebacker Michael Garvey got taken out on the play. I didn't quite get the number on who took him out, but a great lead block. And Dick got the runner up ahead 4 yards. A nice play. Blugolds still matriculating 4 or 5 yards at a time. Big third down here, though, Bob. Chance to turn momentum.
The nose of the football right on the UWEC 45-yard line. Den Hartog will run it. Den Hartog lunging forward. There's a penalty marker thrown. Based on that spot, it should be enough for a first down, but we'll take a listen from Chuck Morning about that penalty.
Blugolds moving backward. I believe it's on them.
Holding. 62. Offense. 10 yards from the previous spot. Third down.
Noah Risch had a great push that time on the right side, and Zach Shepard couldn't do anything but hold him. Otherwise, Risch may have made a tackle right at the line of scrimmage. Big penalty there for the Blugolds, which had momentum.
It moves the Blugolds back to the 35, 3rd and 12. Matt Knopp is in the slot to the left side. Den Hartog will step up in the pocket. Now he'll run with it, tripped up. He'll gain a couple. But it'll bring up a 4th down, and another Blugold player slow to get up, and that's the tight end, Ty McLaughlin. So
again,
another
Bob,
injury timeout now for the Blugolds.
Yeah, great coverage downfield that time. The Eagles playing off in their defensive secondary, allowing the short pass. Den Hartog tried to buy a little extra time, but the Eagles gobbled them up after a gain of about 5. So a third down stop for UW-Eau, and now their offense gets to come back on the field, and they got a little rhythm going on that last possession.
Trainers tending to Ty McLaughlin. He is a junior out of Eau Claire Memorial High School. He was a multi-sport athlete. Comes from a family of 3 brothers, all of whom played hockey. In fact, his older brother, Shane McLaughlin, is a forward over at UW Stout. So Shane, once a week, can be a Blugolds fan. Then the rest of the time, he goes back to being a UW Stout fan.
I wonder how that plays when he goes back to going back to Stout.
I think people understand. That's his brother. It's his little brother. You got to support. Their little brother. But when it's UW Eau Claire, UW Stout on the ice, then the rivalry is on. Ian Scott kicking it away. Cruiser backing up to his own 22. Cruiser has some space. He is taken down short of the 40-yard line, but it'll be decent field position for the Eagles on their second drive of this second half.
Well, Shramsky found a rhythm on that last drive with the short passing game and running the ball as well. We'll see if they go back to that run game, which was really successful on that touchdown drive. That cut the lead down to 3.
Crosse will take it from their own 39-yard line. Shramsky he kept it. Shramsky still on his feet. That was a great fake, Scott. I could have sworn he handed that ball off to Jenkins. He pulled it back, tucked it up, got a first down.
Yeah, he had me fooled too, and then he showed off his athleticism by getting to the corner and turning it straight upfield, 12-yard gain and a first down.
Eagles operating in Blugolds territory.
Blugolds back into that defensive alignment, 2 defensive linemen down, 2 standing outside linebackers on the outside up front.
Shramsky to Zwig on the near sideline, knocked out of bounds by Bo Casper.
Hey, Joshua.
Mark him out of bounds at the 42.
Swig missed last week's game against Whitewater with an illness. Thought it might be a long-term departure for him, but Swig back in the lineup today and part of that very deep receiving corps for UW-La Crosse.
And interesting, Zwig out of Watertown High School, which is the same high school of quarterback Tarek Yagi. Handoff Jenkins, tripped up. Had some good space on that right side. Ross Curran tripped up Jenkins, knocked him down, but it's still a first down carry for Jenkins. They've got a first down, does La Crosse from the Blugolds 37. Handoff Jenkins. He takes it down to the 32.
Well, right now the UW offense is just taking what Eau Claire is giving them. It looks like Eau Claire is playing way off the ball to the far side of the field and in the middle. They can throw the short pass to the far side of the field or run it up the gut like they've been doing the last few plays. Those are the weak spots in this Eau Claire defense at the moment.
Cruiser in motion. They fake the handoff to him. Shramsky down the sideline. He's got the running back Jenkins. First down to the 14-yard line.
And if Shramsky leads him just a little bit, this is a touchdown here. But again, with time, and this is what the running game will do. It sets up this play action kind of passes, and then Jenkins down to the 14.
The classic wheel route out of the backfield. Shramsky is going to run it. He is wrapped up by Colin Groves.
Colin Groves read it beautifully that time. He's made a couple really nice plays today. I've been impressed with number 51 in blue today.
Sam Romanski also helping out on the tackle. Gain of 2 for Shramsky. 2nd and 8 from the 12. Joel Oxton split out to the near side. He will hand it Jenkins. He takes it inside the 10, down to the 7.
Big tackle by Charlie Brookshaw that time. Otherwise, Jenkins is walking around in the end zone, and the Eagles have the lead. Big play here on 3rd down, because if it goes to 4th down, I don't know if the Eagles will kick a field goal. They've had some issues with their kicking game in the last 4 or 5 games.
Charlie Brookshaw, the sophomore out of Prescott, Wisconsin. He goes 6'6", 230. Shramsky on the rollout, tried to go underneath. That pass incomplete.
And now decision time for Mike Schmidt, and they will go for the field goal. And Mike Schmidt, little displeased over there. Mankuski was open and had first down yardage.
Pass a little high. Mankuski couldn't haul it in. So now Joshua Fisher. Joshua Fisher. He was 7 of 13 on field goal attempts coming into this game with a long of 40.
But they've had 5 blocks so far this season, Bob. It's been a factor. It's been an issue.
They'll spot it on the 15, 25-yard field goal is no good. He pushed it to the right.
Never brought it back to the middle. That one was a little bit longer than an extra point, and a big stop for the Blugolds, and now momentum back on their side.
We mentioned Fisher, 7 of 13 on field goal attempts, Scott, but coming into this game, 5 of 6 on field goal attempts between 20 and 29 yards. Just push that one right. So the Blugolds will take the football with 5 seconds to go here, third quarter, leading 17-14. Dan Hartog handing off to Antoine Moore. Good carry, still on his feet. Antoine Moore, 40, 30, knocked out of bounds, but a huge gain. Peter Kissling saving a touchdown. Antoine Moore, big-time play for the Blugolds.
Well, the success of JT Den Hartog keeping it on the read option sets this play up. A bunch of Eagles went to Den Hartog up the middle. That left the outside wide open for Moore, and he takes it deep into La Crosse territory. Huge turn of events here at the end of the third quarter.
The fourth quarter is coming up. Keep it right here. More WIAC football after the break. UW-Eau Claire leading UW-La Crosse 17-14. We get set to start this fourth quarter. Let's go to the sideline. Megan Knipe with an injury update.
Yeah, guys, so Ty McLaughlin went down, the junior tight end from Eau Claire. It appears that he injured his right ankle. Trainers were tending to him, but they ended up wrapping him up quickly and getting him to test it out a little bit, and they want him back in the game.
Thank you, Megan. First play, fourth quarter. Blugolds on the Eagles, 25. Den Hartog looking deep for Matt Knopp. And we have a penalty marker thrown. A lot of jostling going on the near sideline. Knopp and Matt Willickett. Willickett was out there in one-on-one coverage with Matt Knopp.
Well, we saw those two jostling, a lot of hand fighting between both players.
Defense, number 12, 15 yards, automatic first down.
But with that ball over the head of Knopp, I don't think there was any reason for Willickett to put his hands on him.
And how about the play call from Dan Larson?
Taking a shot to the end zone.
And you mentioned it, Scott. What a turn of events. La Crosse looked like it was driving for a go-ahead touchdown. The drive stalls. They bring on the field goal unit. They miss the field goal, and with just seconds to go, Eau Claire hands off on a simple play. Little sweep around the left side that goes for a huge gainer, and now the Blugolds, after this penalty, in the red zone. First and goal from the 10.
2-yard line, Todd, 2.
Paoli is the running back. Den Hartog try to take it around the left side. Nothing doing that time. Eagles Noah Risch on the tackle.
Noah Risch, we've called his name a lot. He read that one perfectly. Got some help from Peter Crean.
Antoine Moore checking back in for the Blugolds.
Blugolds would love a touchdown here, Bob. Would make it a two-score game again.
At the 10. Second out and goal at the 10.
Wondering if they might have to put it up in the air. Keep an eye on number 25, lined up directly to the left of Den Hartog. Moore has been terrific today.
You got two running backs back there, Paoli and Moore, along with Den Hartog in the backfield for the Blugolds. Den Hartog trying that back shoulder fade to Le'Shawn Evans. It's incomplete. And it'll bring up third and goal.
It was there. Steve Law had his back turned to the receiver. And if that pass was about another 6-8 inches to the inside, I think it would have been a touchdown.
Yeah, agreed. It's a little bit too low and to the left.
Third and goal at the La Crosse 10.
I think if we've seen anything from the Blugolds today, it's that UWEC is willing to take some shots and willing to take some chances. 3rd and goal from the 10. Dan Hartog scrambling to his right. Evades one man and then goes down at the 15-yard line.
Sam Phillips might get credit for that sack that time, although Dan Hartog ran into his own player, and that'll bring out the field goal unit. That's a big stop for La Crosse, because even if the Blugolds connect on this field goal, it's still a one-score game.
They will spot the ball at the 23-yard line, so a 33-yard attempt for Austin Colden. This would be his long of the season. Colden kicks it up and through. Field goal good for the Blugolds to extend their lead to 20-14. Back with more of this 4th quarter from Carson Park when we return. UW-Eau Claire thinking upset here at Carson Park. The Blugolds have a 20-14 lead over UW-La Crosse. Eagles, though, the fact they didn't give up a touchdown, only the field goal, now they're still within one score.
Yeah, after giving that long run to Moore, they were in trouble of letting this one get away. But now, still in it. Keep an eye on number 1 Cruiser. He has a punt return for a touchdown this year, and he has a couple nice kickoff returns here today.
Cruiser back deep with A.J. Day. Colden with the kick. Cruiser will field it at his own 4. Cruiser out to the 20. He's taken down there. A kick well covered by the Blugolds. La Crosse will open up this drive on the 23-yard line. Samuel Buchberger, freshman out of Marathon, Wisconsin, on the tackle.
Special teams, a solid today for Eau Claire. We haven't called Joel Oxton's name a lot here in the second half, especially wearing number 13, top part of your screen. Let's see if they get him involved a little bit more.
But Oxton wide right, Dante Martsky is wide to the left. What a spot for Ben Shramsky, his first ever start at UWL. He'll hand to Tyler Jenkins, who gets good yardage out to the 30.
13:09 to go. No reason to deviate from your plan offensively for the Eagles. Run it inside, short passing game. That's how they've been moving the ball all year.
Second down and 2.
Gain of 8 for Jenkins. 2nd and 2. Shramsky to Marski. Taken out of bounds by Bo Casper. We'll mark him out at the 38. That's a first down for UWL.
Simple quick out here. Marski, who's had a big couple of games the last few weeks, picking up first down yardage. Give the Blue Gold defense credit. They are not allowing the big play. Keep in mind, the Eagles have 4 receivers on their roster who had at least one game of 98 yards or more receiving. Not today, though.
Shramsky has his man, first down. That's Joel Oxton into Blugolds territory.
Shramsky on the move. Coach Schmidt says he's athletic and can throw on the run well.
He's been impressive, Scott. First ever start at UWL, but as we mentioned, he was a part-time starter last year at Concordia University up in St. Paul, Division II school. Ball on the Blugolds 49. They will hand to Jenkins.
Yeah, a lot of people not watching this game will look at the score and say, oh, 20-14. Eagles only have 14 points. Well, they're starting their backup quarterback. Shramsky has not been the problem for the Eagles today. He's been solid.
Shramsky getting the play from the sidelines. 2nd and 9 from the 48. They hand to Dante Marski, who gets to the edge. Marski taken down by Bo Casper.
Bo Casper shedding the block and coming up and making the play from his cornerback position. Textbook tackle coming up here. Hit low, wrap, and bring him to the ground.
Bo Casper, one of the senior captains for the Blugolds.
3rd down. It's been an issue for La Crosse today. Only 2 of 8. The Blugolds have really stepped it up on defense on 3rd down.
3rd and 7 for Shramsky and the Eagles. Shramsky steps up, he's going to run it. Shramsky taken down by Casper.
Interesting decision here for Mike Schmidt on 4th and 2. 10:50, excuse me, to go in the fourth quarter. Could certainly punt and send them down deep in their own territory, but it looks like the Eagles will go for it. A pair of tight ends come in.
Casper on that last play got some help. Backup linebacker Ben Venner, the freshman out of Toma. 4th and 2, UW-Eau.
Crowd to their feet, Bob. Big moment here.
Shramsky under pressure, throws. He's got his man. The Eagles have their first down. Jacob Zabrowski, junior out of Anago, one of the backup tight ends.
Zabrowski coming in a running situation, the 3rd string tight end for the Eagles, making a big play, and in a pressure situation, Shramsky delivers.
Shramsky will keep it. Taken down by Ross Curran. Shramsky a gain of 3, 2nd and 7 from the UW-Eau Claire 25. Crowd really making a lot of noise. Under 10 to go on the play clock. Shramsky throws the out. Nick Holcomb on the reception.
Great second effort. I think they mark him just short of the first down. He may have stepped out.
Defensive back over there giving Holcomb a lot of room, but some good closing speed that time by the Blugolds.
Eagles with a little jumbo package here. Zabrowski back in, Milliken at tight end. Zabrowski lining up in the backfield, and their big running back, Tyler Jenkins, behind Shramsky.
A handoff to Jenkins. Finds some running room. Jenkins spins his way close to the 10-yard line, and that'll be a first down for the Eagles.
Good hesitation here and patience by Jenkins. It wasn't there up the middle, bounced it a little bit and found a crease between the guard and the tackle and turned it up for 10.
First down UW-Eau, line of scrimmage is the 11, so they can still get a first down on this series. Handed off to Bailey, who pushes forward inside the 5. Going toward that end zone where you've got stands and that whole UW-EC band making all sorts of noise. 2nd and 3, Eagles from the 4. Shramsky is going to run it. Doesn't have a whole lot of room. William Cooley, the linebacker, on the stop.
Much how the Eagle defense has adjusted to Den Hartog on that sort of play, the Blugold defense has now done a nicer job on this series in handling Shramsky on the read option when he keeps it.
Clock is moving. We're under 8 minutes to go here in this fourth quarter.
I say this is 4-down territory here, Bob, with the status of UW-Eau's kicking game not being very good at the moment.
Shramsky hands to Jenkins, nowhere to go. You're going to give him forward progress, but the Blugold defense closing in on Jenkins. And it'll be decision time for the Eagles.
I think if he would have just stuck behind Zabrowski a little bit more here, watch this, watch number 38, the lead blocker, if he just would have stuck to his left a little bit more, he would have found a crease and maybe at least got a first down instead of bouncing it to the outside.
Good job by the defensive back that time, D'Angelo Roberson, the freshman, holding his ground, holding up Jenkins till he got some assistance from his defensive teammates. Remember, the Eagles can get a first down. It's 4th and 2 from the 3. And Mike Schmidt wants a timeout.
Sprinting down the sideline from the 30 down to the 10-yard line, just like he did as a fullback for the Eagles back in the day.
Timeout on the field. We'll take one as well. More WIAC football coming up. Eagles facing a 4th and 2 from the Blugolds 3.
You have Luke Holcomb one-on-one against Bo Casper. Bottom left part of your screen. Eagles have had success with fade patterns all season.
They roll Shramsky. He's going to try to run it. Lunging forward. Did he get enough for the first down? The Blugolds are celebrating, but remember, the Eagles, if they could get it inside the 1, they would have a first down.
They're going to measure. Here's another look at it. I thought Shramsky had Zabrowski for a moment there. What a great second effort. That is awfully close.
And it's a question, Scott, did his knee go down before he extended the football?
Yeah, unfortunately, they can't use our replay here in Division III football. So whatever they call there, that's what stands.
You're going to stay here, Chuck.
All important measurements as the chain gang comes out.
Set.
He's short. The Blugolds defense holds.
6 inches. What a huge stop for Eau Claire. So that's twice now in the second half. Crosse has advanced deep into Blugold territory and come up with nothing.
They're going to...
Apparently they didn't like that first measure.
Well, they're going to make sure every link on that chain is where it needs to be, and there's the signal again.
Well, instead of 6 inches, it was 3 inches short. So either way, but here's a big chance here for the La Crosse defense to make a stand. Still plenty of time. 6:42 to go.
Let's take another look.
Any balls right now, dude?
Right about here is where I thought he had Zabrowski when the defender came off him, but by that time, Shramsky had already decided he was going to run with it, and if he hadn't run into his own guy, I think he would have got the first down.
Game of inches.
Unfortunate bit of circumstances there for the Eagles, but a huge stop for Eau Claire. I'll tell you what, Coach Larson said, teams have had to earn everything against our defense, and he wasn't kidding.
Ken Hartog, the handoff. Very little running room. The clock will keep moving. There's Antoine Moore on the carry. Matt Knopp will check out for UWC. And remember, Eau Claire down at starting tight end, Ty McLaughlin, who had to leave with an apparent ankle injury. And looking at Ty down on the sideline right now, the shoe is off. A bag of ice wrapped around that right ankle. Again, they'll run out of the pistol. Ken Hartog will tuck it and run it. He'll drop the shoulder. He'll get beyond the 5-yard line. Good, strong running for JT Den Hartog. Steve Law was there, couldn't quite bring him down.
Den Hartog showing guts all game long. Always leaning forward when he's running with the ball and picking up an extra yard or two when he goes down.
Well, he played for his father at Hopkins High School over in the Twin Cities. So you grow up as a coach's son, you'll learn the finer points of football. 3rd and 5 now for UWEC.
Deshaun Evans one-on-one. Right part of your screen on Willicat. Wonder if they take a shot deep, see if they can pick up a completion or a pass interference.
They throw the screen to Antoine Moore. Antoine Moore across the 20 and across the 25. First down, UWEC.
Well, they've gone to that play a couple of times. Watch the left part of your screen.
Max Lutz, number 77, lead blocker, helping Antoine Moore to an additional 10 yards. 1st and 10 Blugolds from their own 27. We're under 5 minutes to go here, 4th quarter.
Moore has been a revelation today for the Blugolds. That was a huge first down. Clock rolling.
Den Hartog with Paoli in the backfield with him. They hand it off to Stephen Paoli. Gets forward to the 30-yard line.
You think now if the Blugolds can just get one more first down, they would force the Eagles to use their 2 timeouts that they have remaining.
Second down and 7.
Gain of 3 for Paoli to bring up a 2nd and 7. Eagles have 2 timeouts remaining. Blugolds have all 3 of theirs. Knopp split to the near side. Den Hartog will roll that way. And he will just cover up.
JP Hartog on the carry. Tackled by number 60.
I'll tell you what, Noah Risch was a running back coming out of the backfield. Watch Noah Risch, lower part of your screen, number 56 for UW-Eau. He takes the would-be receiver out right there, and then Den Hartog had no choice but to tuck it under. I think it was an option pass throw, and once Risch took out the receiver there, it was basically hit the deck.
And further downfield, Steve Law had a lot of the jersey of Matt Knopp. Nothing called. It brings up a 3rd and 9. Knopp now in the slot to the left. Den Hartog with the pocket collapsing. He's going to go down. Dakin Coons. One of those active defensive ends for the Eagles. Nothing opening up downfield. Den Hartog has to take the sack, but we are under 3 minutes to go here in this 4th quarter.
Mike Schmidt calls Dakin Coons one of the hardest working players on this team. Not huge for a defensive end in this league, but just gets the job done with hustle and grit.
Well, none of the D linemen for UW-Eau are really the prototypical WIAC defensive linemen, but they make it up with great effort, good technique, and motors, but just not quick.
Sam Phillips is probably the only guy who you like body type-wise, but they, as you said, well, low snap.
Ian Scott gets a nice punt away. Cruiser will field it at his own 42. Ryan Cruiser trying to get outside. He is stacked up there. Good coverage by the Blugolds. Tyler Korth was out there, as well as Ryan Ames. We'll be back with the final 2:04 this 4th quarter when we return. You're watching WIAC football. The 84th meeting between UW-Eau Claire and UW-La Crosse in football has been a good one. Blugolds leading the Eagles 20-14, but the Eagles have it at their own 45-yard line. 2 minutes, 4 seconds to go here, 4th quarter.
Well, high drama, right, Bob? Exactly what we thought.
In this series, Scott, sometimes you have no idea what to expect.
You've seen triple overtime. Last year was a 2-point game. La Crosse won after they had a big lead and Eau Claire came back. Been a remarkable series between these two.
Shramsky on the rollout, throwing short. Taken down was the tight end, Milliken. William Cooley on the coverage for the Blugolds.
Clock running, though. The Eagles have to hurry. Nothing downfield for Shramsky that time, although he may have been looking for Milliken from the start.
Correction, Colin Groves on the tackle for UWEC. 2nd and 8. Shramsky, and a nice grab by Cruiser. That pass was high. And it was Bo Casper on the coverage.
Bo Casper looked like he was waiting to make a play on this. He read it all the way, but instead of going for the ball, he went for the player, and Cruiser was able to come down and make a catch just enough for the first down. Clock starting again, 1:22 to go.
Ball on the Blugolds 45. Shramsky all kinds of time. He is going deep. And it's incomplete. Trying to connect with Sam Zwig. Ryan Ames on the coverage.
One-on-one coverage, 2 down there. One of the Eagles' best receivers. Great job by Ames. Shramsky, I think, threw that a little bit short, hoping Zwig could make a comeback to get to the ball. But it was a little bit too much short.
Home crowd making all kinds of noise. Looking for their first WIAC win since November of 2014. Shramsky completes the pass to Trent Milliken. They'll bring up a 3rd and 4. Under a minute to go, 4th quarter. Shramsky on the rollout. Crosse has his man. That's Sam Zwig out of bounds. The clock will stop. First down.
41 seconds to go. Nice drive so far by Shramsky, taking what's being given to him. Plenty of time with 2 timeouts.
1st and 10 Eagles from the Blugolds 29. Eau Claire showing blitz. We'll see if they rush or back off. Shramsky sets up, throws deep over the middle. Intercepted! Intercepted by Ryan Ames.
Swig had a step on Ames. The throw was short, and Ames came back and made a beautiful catch. And the Eau Claire Blugolds is going to walk off this field with an impressive upset win. Statement win for Coach Larson and his staff.
They broke a long losing streak earlier this season. 3rd game down at Wisconsin Lutheran. And then went back to WIAC play. Lost 3 games, lost at home to Stevens Point. Road games at River Falls and UW Stout. But today, their best 4th quarter performance, the best 4th quarter performance, especially considering the caliber of the opposition. UW-Eau coming in this game with all kinds of momentum after a great start.
Well, you're right, Bob. Coach Larson has said we've had bad quarters, we've had bad halves, but we've also had good moments. And if we could just put it all together, they felt like they could come out and win this game.
Timeout taken with 28 seconds to go.
Well, I
Crosse
mentioned
will take the timeout. They're down to 1 timeout left.
Huge statement win here for Eau Claire, but for La Crosse, which came off a disappointing loss last week to Whitewater, an emotionally filled game, to come up here as a favorite and to lose, this is a step back for them, and it'll be an important week for Coach Mike Schmidt and his staff to get his team regrouped. They had murmurs of maybe making a playoff run, maybe becoming that 2nd team in the WIAC to get into the playoffs. The schedule was set up nicely where they were going to play Stevens Point, Oshkosh, and Platteville to finish, but this is a step back for them.
And again, you can look at comparative scores and say, well, La Crosse went up to River Falls and Stout won by double digits. Blugolds made those same trips, lost by double digits, but for whatever reason in this series, you can just throw all that out. It's who executes on that given day. 2nd and 8 Blugolds from their own 7. Then Hartog will take the knee. Mike Schmidt will burn his final timeout.
Timeout taken by Crosse. Dory Market is about to play UW-Eau touchdown pass thrown.
La Crosse will return home next week to host Stevens Point. After that, it's a trip to Oshkosh and then a home game with UW-Platteville. So some big challenges still ahead for UW-Eau.
They do, and they knew that coming in here. That's why this was a trap game for them. After coming off that Whitewater game and then with Point, Oshkosh, Platteville coming up, they knew they had to make hay today to stay in the conference title race and maybe to get that 2nd playoff berth. So that's why this one's going to sting a little bit for La Crosse.
And for UWEC, still on the schedule next week, home to Whitewater, then a trip to Platteville, then home to Oshkosh. You got the 3 heavyweights of the WIAC remaining on the schedule. So UWEC, assuming they can kill the final 26 seconds here, can feel awfully good about themselves and taking another step in the first season under head coach Dan Larson. UW-EC players celebrating on the near sideline, and they have every right to do it. Surprising a lot of people with a hard-fought 20-14 win over UW-La Crosse.
And celebrating like they just won the conference title. Big win for Coach Larson and his program.
Well, no question about it, Scott. They snapped that long losing streak earlier this season when they went down to Wisconsin Lutheran and handed that Warriors team by a score of 40-14. But it's a different deal once you step into the WIAC. But I would say this about UW-Eau Claire. Start to finish, by far their best performance of this season.
And I think JT Den Hartog led the way. I think he's your game MVP right there. The way he managed the offense, kept the UW-Eau Claire offense out of third and long situations, which is a huge part of what their struggles have been this year. And he was able to manage the game well.
Den Hartog threw a touchdown pass. He also ran for a touchdown. Blugolds beat the Eagles 20-14. We'll have post-game coverage from Carson Park coming up right after this. The UW-Eau Claire football program hasn't had a whole lot to celebrate in recent years. They're celebrating today after a hard-fought win, 20-14 over UW-La Crosse. Bob Radovich, Scott Emmerich back with you. Scott, third and fourth quarter, some big turning points. Blugolds made the plays when they had to.
Absolutely, and they controlled the ball. Time of possession was huge in their favor. Weren't real spectacular or fancy in offense, but good enough to keep the Eagle defense out on the field and wear them down. Den Hartog making a couple of big plays, not with his arm, but with his feet, and some great decisions, too. Antoine Moore, I think the Blugolds have found themselves a go-to running back after today. He was terrific running and out of the backfield. And for the Eagles, missing the field goal on one end and coming, if they had made that field goal, they could have kicked a field goal down on this end and maybe sent this game to overtime. But I think a step back for them, too, because I thought they came in here, they thought they were the heavy favorite.
UW-Eau Claire head coach Dan Larson standing by now with Megan Knight.
Coach, you came out here, you really took hold of the momentum for all four quarters. How does it feel to have those big components that you've been talking about come together for this win?
Yeah, it's something that we've been, working towards over the last 3 weeks. We've been so uneven, and the whole message this week was just play to what we're capable of playing. And, credit to our guys. We came out, and it was truly 4 quarters. They really believed, and they played extremely hard. La Crosse did too. It was a great 4-quarter game. I'm happy we came out on the end of it for our kids.
And you talk a lot about JT Den Hartog really reaching his potential. Can you talk a little bit about his performance today and where you feel he's at now?
Yeah, I think he just did a great job. Last week he faced a lot of adversity. Really responded this week in practice. Came out today, made some big throws. Was extremely smart with the football, and we put the ball in his hands down there in some of the goal line situations, and he got touchdowns. He did a great job. He's a very proven and capable player when he wants to be. Today he did a great job.
And this is your 3rd game here at Carson Park. Tell me a little bit about what the atmosphere here does for the energy of your team.
Well, I really believe this is a great football community, and I'm really so proud of our guys and the fact that we had a great crowd today. It was a beautiful day. We had reunion teams back, and for our guys to come out and win in this atmosphere, it's awesome. It was awesome.
All right, thanks. Congratulations, Coach. Bob and Scott, back to you.
A very happy and probably a bit relieved Dan Larson. First WIAC win this season for the Blugolds. We've got one more break. We've got more post-game coming up from Carson Park. You've been watching WIAC football. UW-Eau Claire knocking off UW-La Crosse 20-14. The Blugolds improving to 2-5 overall, 1-3 in the WIAC. La Crosse dropping to 2-2 in the conference, 5-2 overall. A lot of big plays in this game, Scott. But the interception to seal it as La Crosse was driving for a touchdown that would have tied the game. Ben Shramsky played really well at quarterback for UWL, But this pass just a little bit short, and Ryan Ames coming up with a big interception for the Blugolds.
You're right, Tramsky was solid today, but that's the one play that he will keep him awake tonight, because Swig had a step on Ames, and if he could put a little bit more air, a little bit more yardage distance on it, it would have been a touchdown. But a great play by Ames to come back and scoop that ball off the top of the turf and win it for the Blugolds.
Tramsky, 23 of 32 passing with the interception as well as a touchdown, 173 yards, very solid in his starting debut for the Eagles. On the other side, JT Den Hartog, 11 of 14 passing, 133 yards. The touchdown pass to Matt Knopp. Den Hartog also rushed 24 times for 45 yards. But in terms of just managing the game, Scott, again, I think we see the evolution as a starting quarterback from where he was as a freshman to where he is now as a sophomore.
Yeah, we saw him play well up at Herring Stadium in La Crosse last year. He had over 100 yards rushing and making good decisions. Same thing today.
Scott, another good game in this rivalry. This one goes to UW-EC. For whatever reason, these Carson Park games seem to be the wild ones.
Absolutely.
Scott, good to work with you. Thanks to Megan Knipe for her sideline reporting, for Mitch Motes and all of our crew here at Carson Park. We say thanks for watching. We bid you good afternoon. Once again, your final, UW-Eau Claire 20, UW-La Crosse 14. Have a good rest of the afternoon.